Tuning in. Let's get started. Let's turn up that volume a little bit. All right. I love this background jazz. All right, let's invite a couple people up here and kick it off.
Good morning,
Welcome
everybody.
back, everyone. It's Tuesday, November 8th, and I think we're in for a good time today. We had yesterday's call go on for, what was it, till market close, which was a lot of fun. So if you're interested in continuing to chat, maybe we'll do the same thing today. So stick around and we'll see. Yeah, how are you guys doing?
Hey now, today's here.
Good morning, everyone. Don't forget that if you are listening in the good old US of A, it is election day. Don't forget to vote.
At what time do we have the results?
So polls
Next week.
vary
January.
by state. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discussion on that. A lot of the more competitive races will probably take, the week to find out the results due to absentee ballots and possible recounts. But we should get, yes. I mean, look, did you see how long it took us to figure out who was president?
Did you see how long it took for them to try to figure out how to fix that Powerball machine?
Yeah, we're still waiting.
You broke it, Lockstar.
Most of them will be in the mashed potatoes.
Most of them will
Trying
be
to program
tonight.
my numbers in there.
Most of them will be in tonight. It'll be the close races, like some Senate seats like Georgia, Pennsylvania. If those are close enough to where mail-in ballots matter, then it's going to take a while because they have to count all those and wait for ones that were like delivered the day of to actually show up. So that's what
Georgia's
phase.
Also going to have a bit of a delay because they had, in one of the counties, they weren't able to get absentee ballots to people on time, so they've been granted extra time to get those ballots in to be counted. I mean, it's 1,000 ballots, so we'll see how that affects things.
So you're saying dump trucks of ballots just randomly roll in whenever they decide to count them?
No, I'm definitely not saying that. Let's stay away from conspiracy theories and let's get into plays.
Tesla taking a flush this morning.
What's the reason?
So I'll be going into VAC today, 38 call side, and then I'm also looking at VFC. They're basically the largest, one of the largest footwear for North Face, Vans, Dickies, Timberland. Just looking to go on them. And earlier we were talking about Trip, so I'm looking to play on Expedia, hoping since Trip is going down that Expedia might, as well as Booking, BKNG will go up on the upside.
Now, to answer the question about... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So, answer the question about Tesla. It may still be possibly related to Elon Musk tweeting about painting the monitor on his computer with his seed.
What?
Yes, he literally said he was going to ejaculate on his computer.
So just out of for reference, and I'm not asking the words verbatimly, but if you can you give the words verbatimly? I'm just curious exactly what he said.
Hey, Weeb, who hasn't ejaculated upon a computer monitor before?
But I was just wanting the reference behind it. Like, was there
He literally tweeted out, I guess, a picture, and you could see his reflection, and he said he was going to jack off on his computer screen, I believe was the exact words.
But what was the
okay.
point of it though? Like what was the reference? Like because he doesn't like Twitter, or like what was there any?
I don't know. He just randomly tweeted that out, and then after he tweeted that out, Tesla shares went down yesterday.
And this is all apparently too. So like, how do we know how many worms might be into the system or hacks, right? How do we know that that's not happening? Right? There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate for him. There's a lot of hate for him right now because they all lost their jobs.
All right, let's step back for a second. First of all, Twitter is not a publicly traded company. We don't care about it. We really just care about the impact on Tesla. I don't think, I mean, his account probably has the most security out of everything, so we don't really have to worry about that. He's got, you know, Twitter's good. They have the Tesla engineers working over there, so it's all good.
I think this guy was saying the same thing yesterday, and he keeps saying it, even though Elon hasn't said he is hacked or he's had any issues. He's just like, oh yeah, that's not Elon. Anything bad that Elon does, that's not him. And all the good stuff, that's definitely him, you know? It's just like fucking insane. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Shut the fuck up.
Okay, let's focus on plays, guys, okay?
Yeah, comment down there.
Well,
Hey
so
buddy,
interesting-
comment down there.
Hey guys, everyone just relax. Let's focus on plays.
Yeah, boys, comment down now. Come on.
Yeah, to
Okay,
give
to
some.
change the subject, has anyone noticed that SoFi's cost to borrow is, at least cost to borrow minimum is negative again? So that means brokers are paying people to short SoFi right now. And their utilization's at 100 still. So I'm happy about that.
Sorry, explain that technically. I don't get it.
Okay, utilization, cost to borrow, as well as short interest are three measurements, or at least three measurements that I use to indicate a possible short squeeze. Not a guaranteed, but a possible short squeeze. So those, as soon as those numbers start going up, like as soon as cost to borrow hits like the 30s or the 40s and short interest hits the 80s, then it's more likely. Right now, cost to borrow is negative, which means that brokers like Stash, whoever the fuck is shorting them, is paying people, the individual like myself or whoever the fuck out there, to short these companies. Meaning your short will cost less than initially.
So it's a short for us or a long for like options play. What would be the play here?
Well, I'm going long. I'm buying shares. So anyone that wants to short it can, because they're going to get paid, but you're also running the risk of losing that money as well when it finally shoots back up. So that's why
you are
I
long.
shares.
You are long because of the short squeeze that you expect, or something like that.
So what about the earnings?
I'm expecting a short squeeze. And also, to speak while I have the floor, Lucid has earnings after hours today, and they weren't really affected by the Tesla news yesterday, so I was really happy about that. And they're also starting to pump this morning. Not like super pump or whatever, but they're green, so I'm really happy about that.
I'm with you on that one, Mass.
In other news, squeeze these, Todd.
Goldie Call 81 wants to know about Disney calls. Anybody?
It's a happy place.
I think it's pretty hard when people just say like, "Hey, what do you think about this stock?" I'm curious what they think.
What did they release earnings? Not yet.
Hey, opinion. What do you make of the Canadian finance minister coming out and speaking about Disney Plus being too expensive?
God damn it, Callis. I don't know.
Just how bad is the Canadian dollar?
Sorry?
So just how bad is the Canadian dollar right now?
It's not terrible. I mean, opinion. Have you looked at the parity between CAD and USD? I think it's at 74, 75. I don't really follow the Canadian dollar that closely, ironically enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say parity. What parity? The Canadian dollar has been sliding against the US dollar for probably like a decade now, from when it was 1-to-1. But I do think it's kind of interesting how Canada increased its interest rates earlier than the US. And so I think that when we stop increasing, if we stop increasing our interest rates, I think the US will shortly follow. So that might be the canary in the coal mine to look for.
I think they just try to get ahead of it all the time, right? Just so that they don't dive that much, right?
Yeah,
a lot of people
I think,
depend on it.
Mm-hmm. No,
Actually,
for sure.
I wouldn't rely on Canada's interest rate being stopped and compared to US just because the mortgages are treated differently here. We have 5 fixed in Canada and we have 30-year mortgages in the US. So they're just stopping it because people can get really hurt if they keep.
We can get 10. We can get 10 here as well.
Yeah, but majority of people have 5.
Absolutely, you're correct.
Yeah, most people got 3-year variables in the last couple of years just because the rates are so attractive. But I think CPI has been hitting a bit lower here in Canada. I want to say the last print was the high 6s, if I remember correctly. So because I think we're a bit ahead of the curve when it comes to CPI and cooling inflation, you're going to see smaller rate hikes much more quickly here than you will in the US.
Yeah, but the next one's a really key one because the last CPI print was a big time slowdown on its reduction. So like, I mean, we only finished, I think we reported like 1 point over the estimate, or 1 point under the estimate. I can't remember, but the previous quarters, the rate hikes had a much more dramatic effect. So now we got to wait for the next one to really get an idea of where we're going.
So two things. I'm surprised how many Canadians there are in this chat. It's cool. The second would be, what about those supercharged housing markets? Have they cooled off a bit with these rate hikes that
It definitely has cooled off. I don't think we're going to see the effect till mid next year, to be honest. Because you have to understand, a lot of people that got mortgages in 2020 and 2021 had these incredibly low rates. We're talking 1.6%, 1.7 on a 3-year variable. So because of that, you're going to see renewals happening 2024, 2025. Everyone's going to basically have their asses handed to them on those variable rates, depending on where the rates land, somewhere in 2024, I would say beginning to mid. So you're going to have a lot of people basically losing the principal on their home and paying more towards interest as these rate hikes continue further and further. Now, when they renew, they're obviously going to have an incredibly amount higher of a mortgage to pay, and they're going to basically have their hand full.
It's actually bad because I know a lot of people in Canada who have $1 million mortgages and they got like 2.5%. Now it's like 5.5%. So they're paying like double in mortgage.
Yeah, I got mine coming up here in March, and I'm dreading it for.
I think we all are quite familiar with like the housing market and how interest rates have moved. It's been a conversation for honestly forever. But I guess the question is, what are your actual plays on it? Are you divesting of REITs, or what's the strategy? And I'll just add in a little tidbit that it's interesting how some like REITs, for example, can obfuscate the true asset value and kind of hide that away from people in their filings. Matt Levine had a much better way of explaining it. Maybe I'll find the post and link it.
Is there a ETF that's shared between the U.S. market and the Canadian market that are like builders that are both in Canada and the U.S. that you guys know of? Or perhaps even financiers?
Not to my knowledge, no. I know there definitely are ETFs in Canada that probably have mortgage exposure. I'm just not sure what those tickers would look like, but that's a quick Google.
Like rocket companies. If you're looking at things to short, if you're looking at things to short, just the banks.
Just be careful trying to short the Canadian housing market because there are protections built in that don't exist in the American market as far as preventing actual crashes. We can have declines and reductions, but they're slow and gradual. It's built that way. Our banks have cash backups. Our mortgages are all stress tested. So even as the values of these homes decline, there's going to be a resistance point where people are again able to afford their mortgages, and it just stops. So the idea of something like 2008 happening in Canada is physically impossible.
We're still seeing, with interest rates go up, I'm seeing a decline in my buyers. We've got buyers backed out, decided to rent for a 7.1% 30-year or 5% down mortgage. priced them completely out of the housing, but we still see cash buyers showing up with organizations converting single family properties to rent. So a huge decline in mortgage services, but we're going to see a decline in sales and then an uptick once the pricing gets leveled out in cash investors.
Actually, there's a lot of stories about people who own places and rent them out, and people who can't afford the rent anymore. In Canada, they're allowed to stay in the rental without paying for up to a year or two without being evicted. And a lot of people are just not having enough cash and having to sell their homes or move into their parents' house.
I'll say that they think they can, but that's just me.
What?
Okay, so to jump right ahead, I guess there's a hurricane coming in. Okay, Strawberry 6501 says hurricane to Florida incoming Wednesday through possible Friday. Does anyone have any hurricane plays back on the menu?
I would say Generac, but I'm not sure if there's any sort of direct correlation between them and Generac. I know Generac's one of the bigger ones. Any Home Depot, any supplies company that sells anything like materials, goods. I mean, those are the two that come to mind initially, but there's a pretty thin correlation, I would say, between that event and those stock tickers.
Thoughts and prayers.
But is that gonna, for like a Home Depot, is a hurricane in Florida going to be big enough to matter to a national company like Home Depot on their bottom line and their overall stock?
Exactly. Very thinly correlated.
Traditionally, yes.
It makes headlines, right? So I guess the play is there. Like it's a news trade. I don't think this is going to be as severe as Ian by any means. So I think I was actually considering buying calls on Generac and then selling them. I don't think by the time maybe Friday hits, you're gonna have it start to taper off, and then buying puts on Generac.
I did want to say that there was one play that I did see, Verizon, VZ, when the first hurricane came, they came out the headline of like, we're keeping our phones on or something like that, like letting people make calls, whatever that's supposed to mean. But anyway, that headline the next couple of days ran up Verizon.
I'm not familiar with Generac. Can someone give me like a 15-second why they've gone completely down the drain here over the last few years?
They're like home energy, home products company, like meters and stuff.
They haven't been able to fill orders.
Yeah.
They're blaming it in supply chain.
So it's an energy play, not a materials play.
Generac is supposed to be for individual backup power. Think hospitals, industry, not really so much residential.
It's got a lot of exposure residentially, and especially in hurricane-prone areas.
Yeah.
All right, so I think the obvious play for today is Tesla puts. Anybody doing that?
I'm considering it.
Calls.
On the menu.
No, not calls. I mean, you could try it, but I could see this going down to like 178 today at a bottom, 10% drop.
Did anybody play Take Two earnings?
I did.
I was
Very
in,
nice.
and I never got filled on the November 100, but it never got filled.
Oh, that's why you always buy for the ask when you're sure of the play. Hey, Marathon Digital earnings goes on after hours today. Everybody knows. I think they're the cryptocurrency miners for a couple of them out there. Crypto's going to take a big hit from a news story I saw today or recently that the government seized a lot of Bitcoin. And they're going to be selling it. I'm not 100% sure that news, but Marathon loses money every time. And the puts are real cheap. I'm actually
you can expect a ton of volatility in the FTX FTT token as well.
Absolutely.
There's been a lot of headlines about that in the last 12 hours.
Absolutely, but I'm a degenerate. I'm going to play the either the $10 puts for about 46 cents for November 11th or the $9.50 for 29 cents. Vertex Energy, guys, I gave you that play yesterday. It's bouncing around this morning. They did better on the earnings per share, but missed on revenue. It's so heavily shorted. It's bouncing around right at yesterday's price where I bought it. I purchased shares this morning to cover myself on my puts. I'm still going to keep my puts in play and see what happens for the day. But also, congratulations to anybody who took TripAdvisor with me yesterday. They're down 22%. on very bad earnings. So that's all I have for today.
22. What did they miss?
They're just not very. They're trading at about 20 times price to earnings, maybe 24 times. They actually decreased from quarter to quarter, to second to third, when other bookings are showing better profits. So they really did not hit their mark. So yeah, down a lot.
What do you guys think about TTD today? The trade desk.
Is it today, the earnings?
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, I believe.
Tomorrow morning, yeah. I bought puts. I think a good idea.
Yeah, I think ultimately I'm bearish on the stock. I know that there's going to be some specific news. Might come out in this earnings call. It was supposed to come out last week. That is positive, but you know, there's plenty of positive information in every earnings report, and there's also negative information as well, right?
You also have a very strong resistance at around $39. Like not,
Yeah.
I mean, why? I mean, it's bounced off 39, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 times over the last year or so.
Yeah, so I'm still bearish on them a little bit just because of the market conditions, and you know they're in advertising, where I could see ad buys decreasing as the market continues its downtrend. But they are extending outwards into new areas. Right now, they mostly have advertisers in entertainment, and I have it on pretty good authority that they're going to have new ad revenue streams in other verticals that is going to be announced.
What are these verticals? Are you saying calls?
I'm saying that there's consumer packaged goods companies that are starting to use their service as well. And that will, how much of an ad buy that was, how much they're using their services, that'll be fully, I don't have an answer there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some new names on that earnings report.
Hey, those playing Tesla, what would be the strike price and the expiration date here? I mean, the puts.
They broke the 196.66 support, which I think is a pre-market. Next support is 198.83. Next support after that appears to be 194, and then after that, it's a fair way down. Elon Musk has started today's tweet storm by announcing that he is now a Republican. We'll see if it goes off the rails as far as it did yesterday. It got pretty wild.
He also said, I don't know if you watched on Sunday, he was on this Barron's Investment Fund conference. Basically, they are also investing and backing up him on Twitter deal. So he said that he thinks Tesla is still overvalued. So he wouldn't advise to any friend to buy Tesla. So yeah.
I guess 180 strikes with enough data should be all right.
Just to correct the person before, he didn't say he's Republican. He just said shared power is better than one party rule.
No. This morning he's tweeting more things. Yesterday he tweeted those things. Then he tweeted a bunch about masturbating. Those other tweets got deleted. Today he started by saying he's like going to be voting Republican and was previously independent. We'll see where this goes. We'll see if this goes off the rails like yesterday.
No, I was just saying he didn't say he's a Republican. Yeah, he said to vote Republican for shared power. So there's a lot of context in that tweet, just FYI.
You're not listening to what he's saying. He's saying this morning, because you're right. Yesterday he tweeted, told people they should vote Republican so we'd have shared power. He's saying this morning that Elon Musk has tweeted that he's now a Republican.
Listen, I don't give a shit what he does. I want stability, and I want him to make cars. Damn it! I mean, that's
want to know what the play is.
So if he's acting unstable,
the play is that it's increasing the volatility of Tesla.
Exactly. Yeah.
I get that. Are we thinking that his declaration that he's Republican is going to make it go down or up?
Conservatives don't buy Teslas, buddy.
Fair enough.
I'm thinking it doesn't matter what he declares. What matters is the fact that he's saying all this crazy stuff. That looks bad. That doesn't show stability. This guy's CEO of 4 companies. Boring company, Tesla, Twitter, and SpaceX. So he's already the CEO of 4 different companies. Only one of those is publicly traded. We expect this guy to be like a rock, right? I mean, he occasionally makes things that are funny and occasionally meme worthy, but what we don't want to see is flip-flopping, instability, and a bunch of random tweet storms. That's bearish regardless of the content.
I don't
The
know,
fact
man.
that
I was
he's
saying the
able
same
to
thing
scald.
about Tesla at like 250 back in the pandemic, and I just watched that thing go up like a SpaceX rocket. Like, I don't know.
I do think
Maybe
that
there's a
narrative,
method to this madness.
he used to be untouchable, and now it's like even his fans are starting to question him, right? Like the masturbating thing is out of character, dude.
No one's doubting that this emperor is wearing no clothes. But what's the play? Are you selling buy rights against Tesla? Or are you doing cash secured puts? Because there's increased volatility, so these are Vega negative plays.
You know, we've seen a lot of posts lately of surprise changes in the market where like earnings are up, but the stock goes down anyway for some reason. So I'm wondering how much of that plays into bullshit like this.
I wouldn't short it. I mean, I think there's still so many people that see it as an opportunity, right?
Do you guys want to shift over to retail? I know Target has earnings on the 16th, and then Best Buy is the following week. I'm trying to look at a play for Best Buy based on Target's earnings.
I'd say week outlooks ahead.
Yeah, I'd say PC sales were down, were they not?
I'm personally visiting much of the retail with the Black Friday event being month long at Home Depot, Best Buy, Target, and I'm seeing in my region way less folks in the parking lot over at Target and Best Buy, and I'm seeing quite a bit of people in Home Depot. I think Home Depot's going to really hone it in for earnings this year, but I don't think Target or Best Buy are going to hit the numbers. But I also think they're priced really low, so I don't think I'm going to be playing too aggressively on the puts, maybe in the money puts for Target and Best Buy post earnings.
They're also losing quite a bit on the wood that they bought.
Going back to the hurricane, I got a guy that lives in Florida that I talk to every day. He says that it's going to be a breezy rainstorm. So I don't know how much I'd put into that.
Yeah, this one, it's right now, last I heard, it's a subtropical depression. They're saying it might become a hurricane by the time it makes landfall in Florida. So if it does, it'd be probably a very weak Category 1. So there might not be quite the volatility that there was with Ian, which was like a very strong 4.
Yeah, I think most of the people down there are used to it, and they're not afraid of a 1. So I wouldn't put too much into Home Depot in this one.
The only thing that it could affect is because it's supposedly headed for roughly the same area that got hit by Ian. So if you have areas that are under renovation, if it causes any damage there, they'll have to start from square one.
Shifting gears, Nintendo, I think, reported earnings yesterday. It's up about 40 cents this morning. I'm still holding that all the way through May because they've got a lot of stuff going on. I was reading an article this morning about DENA. I don't know what the fuck this is, but they just signed some sort of partnership with them. Their earnings were good. The Switch sales are up. They just reconfirmed release windows for major upcoming titles, which are all just headlines you guys can Google. But the stock is up 40 cents this morning, and I'm thinking it's going to continue to go up through like next May.
That's when I'm targeting my sale. So yeah, I definitely like that idea.
I do too, and I also just noticed that you got to pay extra to put on the Nintendo 64 application on your Switch now. So I mean that's got to bring in a little bit of cash too. So
Yeah, the classic, like I can't remember what it's called, like classic Boulder or something. I think because they have two different levels of like the online subscription. So like the main one is like $20 a year. I think it's like $40 or $60 to get the access for the vintage game vault, whatever we want to call it. Still haven't figured out what it's really called.
yeah, well, that's quite a jump. That's a huge jump to get that. So I haven't done it quite yet, but I do enjoy my vintage games.
Shifting gears, I'm bullish on Wendy's. They got an upcoming report. Most of us are going to be working there in the near future. They've made some interesting hires in the project management, business administration regions of their company recently. Also, they had that sunburst mango. That stuff was delicious. So I think they probably did all right. So Wendy's calls.
Also, it should be stated that Wendy's serves their patties square because they don't cut corners.
Damn.
And their potatoes are made from fresh potatoes. But just saying.
Fresh.
Yeah, they cut the potatoes there.
And the dumpsters are hypoallergenic.
Yeah. Best
Does
dumpsters around.
Does anyone know if Wendy's has a 401k?
Yeah. My house has a Wendy's dumpster in it.
Good. I have a future.
Hey, what about Rumble earnings today?
There's the midterm election today, right?
Correct.
At what time should we have the results?
So we talked about it towards the beginning. So
Yeah, man. No, sorry. Let me answer him because he seems to be from as well. I'm from Europe, a bit more advanced country, and we were expecting to have it in 2 hours. Seems like they're gonna release it in 1 fucking week. Actually, they were saying 2 weeks.
The answer is just like the Powerball. We don't know.
Oh fuck!
Okay.
I had all my options, expiring this fucking week, and now you're
Well-
telling me that you take like 2 weeks to count votes.
That's your own
it
damn fault.
depends
Every
on the
state.
race.
It's
I
only
don't
for
know.
some.
I don't.
It's only
quick.
for some races. It's only for
Yeah.
some races that are hotly contested. You're going to know the results of most of the races by the end of the day or early tomorrow at the latest.
And I'm just curious, out of curiosity, how are your plays even relatively related to the winners in these states that will win a election, quote unquote?
No, his plays were set to expire immediately after the election without realizing that the results can change for up to 3 weeks following.
Yeah, because I was
Thank you, Hardy.
I was reading this rally as just bullshit until election, and whatever happens, election doesn't matter. It was like continuing the downturn. That was my fucking bet, but yeah.
So the main thing is we have several very closely contested races in the Senate, and it's expected that the Republicans will retake the House. So it's going to be whenever they figure out who's going to have the majority in the Senate, that will probably be the end of the volatility of the market, and we'll see either go very far up or very far down.
Which would argue there's still volatility in the market.
Does anybody have plays on Roblox? I know we've talked about them a lot in past sessions. They got earnings coming up. What's the opinion here? Or was that already covered before I joined?
They have earnings tomorrow afternoon, I believe. I've been looking into it, and I will be taking a put position. I anticipate probably about a 10% decline. They had their best month in October since December of last year, but December of last year's quarterly, they lost like 117 million, I believe. So that didn't impress me. That had.
Yeah, same here. I'm in the foot camp. They've had bad monthly
Does anybody
report.
know if they're doing anything at all that's innovative, or is it all just we're all playing video games? Like, are they doing anything?
They are very innovative. When you get bored at night, you can play the game.
So
Well, let me
Roblox,
ask you a question.
Roblox is unique in that they created a platform that allows low-code developers to create games within their, well, for lack of a better term, metaverse. It differs from something like the Unity or Unreal Engine in that they already give you useful templates from which a game can be developed, and that has allowed young adult aged folks to create entire companies on top of the Roblox platform in service of, at least for now, children.
Right. So I've actually dabbled a little bit with the studio, and I know where you're coming from. My question is, all that stuff's been in place for a while, but I haven't seen anything new come out of the Roblox studio other than, assets for that. Are they doing anything besides what they've already got in place?
They're looking for ways to encourage more purchasing of Robux. That's their main focus, to maintain whatever growth projections they originally had. Whether or not they'll hit that is unlikely. A lot of companies who were projecting double-digit growth year over year have been forced to restate as their earnings announcements come up, and I suspect Roblox is no different.
So wouldn't Roblox be based on basically a 16-year-old dude who releases the next new thing, right? Like if there's no new popular thing in Roblox, and there's no reason for anybody to spend any more Robux. So we're kind of all just waiting on the next popular game to come out there. Is that it?
Pretty much. If someone is able to, using the studio, using the sandbox that Roblox developed, is able to create a brand new game that really appeals to the user base, then Roblox can see to earn, 15% cut of that, or whatever their take is on the Robux.
Right. So then, based on my experience, like I play with my kids all the time. We play tower defense. They play like Cat Simulator. There's all these games that are popular games. There's no new games that are showing up on that list that are appealing to these kids. They're like exploring things, but there's no new like Cat Simulator X or whatever it is that, has 76,000 people playing it. I haven't seen that in the better part of 2 years.
But aren't they interacting with the platform?
They are, but it's maintaining in the same games, right? So if you've got 76,000 people playing Cat Simulator or whatever the fuck, then it's going to be the same 76,000 people. And if those, if 40,000 of those people have already spent their Robux in that game, there's no point in them spending more Robux because they've already got what they want. And then you've got the barrier of they have to go to their parents to get money to begin with, right? So, I mean, all this is me saying I'm bearish. I don't think Roblox is going to blow up, but maybe.
It's tomorrow pre-market. I think it's the earnings. So
I don't use Roblox, but do they show ads yet while you play your game?
No, not yet.
I think we can all agree that's a lot of gas.
They're integrating advertisers, like, they're looking for ways to create more revenue, but I don't think that's going to work. Like Walmart is.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Tomorrow
I think
morning.
that's a huge platform, and if you can somehow build a user base large enough to where they just turn out ads, it doesn't take a lot to make a lot when the scale's that big.
I mean, has anyone gone on that Walmart world that they did with Roblox?
No. I don't even know what you're talking about. I feel like maybe I'm the person that spends the most time on Roblox out of this whole group. If I don't know what you're talking about, then
I think it's time to
There's
move
a
on to
Walmart
another-
world on Roblox.
Probably time to move on to another play. Who has them?
I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna play Affirm tonight. I can't hate them enough. So puts on Affirm, and I'm considering Upstart also. Just want to get your thoughts.
It's because of
What
earnings.
does Upstart do?
AI-based loan origination and that kind of thing, and yeah, it's really vague, to be honest.
I mean, do you realize we're about to go into like the strongest quarter for Affirm, though, right?
All of their partners are reporting declines and projected declines, so I'm not bullish on that.
Are those school loans? Did I catch that right? Was it a loan platform?
Yeah, it's like a buy now pay later.
Yeah,
It's
play later.
consumer credit. Yeah.
Really, buy now pay never is what the issues they're having.
Right. It's not at all on the school loan spectrum, though, right?
No,
No.
Yeah.
it's all consumer stuff.
Any thoughts on AMC's earnings today?
I'm doing a tiny bet on APE.
It could go up, but it'll probably go down.
I'm doing a small bet on APE on them announcing that they're going to vote to convert it to AMC to try to raise money. Not a lot of money
but
on
what
it.
about the
they do.
Zoom merge yesterday?
Wait. How does converting APE to AMC raise money? The APE has
Because
already been sold.
They're able to issue $4 billion in APE, and if they convert it to AMC, that opens up their ability to raise that capital. They can't
Okay,
do
so
that with
let
AMC.
me hold on a second. So you're saying of the APE shares that currently exist, they can convert that to AMC and realize cash?
I'm saying that step one of them doing that is them holding the vote to convert the APE shares into AMC shares, and then that if that vote passes, opens up the ability for them to raise capital.
So that's the second part that I'm not understanding, because the first batch of APE shares have already been sold. They've already realized the cash. So where is the cash coming from? Is there a second issuance that'll come out?
From my understanding, they can continue issuing APE shares that are now set to convert to AMC, which will then raise the value of those APE shares to match closer to AMC so they can raise at a higher price.
This is like a tiger stalking its prey. I think you're dead in the water, dude.
This is hilarious. Like, this is the first time I've heard a lot of things on Wall Street bets, but this is the first time I've heard someone to be about share dilution. Like, oh man, I'm about ready to get diluted into the ground. The share dilution's going to be lit. Like, bro.
No, I'm not excited for share
value.
dilution.
How's that
If
possible?
they call the vote, they convert at 1-to-1, and then APE is going to push closer to AMC's price on the news, at which point I'll sell. You don't have to.
How do you know? Hold on, Red. How do you know AMC won't come down to APE's price? Why? How are
I
you so
imagine
confident that
both
APE will
things
go
will
up?
happen. I
So
imagine AMC will come down and APE will go up. Both will
Okay,
happen.
so it sounds like a pairs trade is in order. Buy puts on AMC and calls on APE if you truly believe this vote will go through, because the exchange price will be somewhere in the middle, right? Not beyond either extreme.
Well, I have $1,000 worth of $6 calls for AMC, and I bought them yesterday before close. I don't know what to do. Do I hold or sell it open?
Can you buy AMC tickets with Dogecoin or crypto yet?
I'm not sure. I might have to search that up. Only if you're a cat.
Fun fact, guys, Tesla is at the bottom of 194. Bid ask is 194.11 to 194.23 pre-market. So it is.
Looks like it broke most of its supports then.
Yeah.
It's long, bro.
It's bad. If it hits at if it goes into 190, I think it might start hitting free fall territory maybe.
Well, yeah, it gets pretty
Speaking of
nasty.
free
There was
fall.
one more support at 188, but after that, it's just there's no bottom. It's real rough.
Full disclosure, I do
This
shit
is
talk
just
Elon a
fun,
lot, but I've had Tesla puts expiring in December for the past month and a half. There's a reason why I don't like Elon, which is me not liking Elon is good for me.
Speaking of free falls, what about Carvana yesterday?
Okay, helicopter. Like that a lot.
Hopefully $5 incoming on Carvana. And like a pairs trade, I think with Car Gurus, their earnings are coming up.
Yeah, loving the Carvana.
I'm assuming you're on the puts.
They've got two or three quarters left unless they sell the Carvana assets, and the rest of the somehow they were able to hold ADESA properties without putting them into the financing for the 3.2 billion. But I'm sure JP Morgan and Citibank will be chasing those down.
Yeah, it's getting ugly.
So I
What about-
wanted to inject this chat with a little bit of regard, but I honestly think we might have had too much this session already. That being said, a play I'm looking at today is shares of MSOS. It's a U.S. cannabis ETF. The ballot is sealing the fate for a lot of companies, and there are a couple companies that this ETF that I like quite a lot, those being Cresco and Curaleaf.
Honey, can you mute? Thank you.
Somebody taking out the trash?
Sounds like it. Doing some
The
dishes.
God in the trash compactor.
What
Yeah,
about
taking out the
Alarm?
Tesla.
What about Alarm ALRM? They have earnings today. They're pretty overvalued, high PE ratio. They're a home security company, IoT devices. I'm gonna do puts for the earnings. I wonder if anybody else looked at it.
Hey, circling back, what was the ticker on Cargoros and what was the play?
CARG, CARG, puts.
Thank you.
Oh, so for those who missed it yesterday when we did the extended talk, we started off by like following Carvana, and it was hilarious watching everyone just like, oh, it's breaking below $7, going up 750. So I wanted to see if anyone continued trading that throughout the day and is still holding their position today, or
I
they
still have
realized
my
the gains
puts
yesterday.
that I bought at market open, and as well as those that I think I bought some 250 puts that expire at the end of the week.
Yeah, same. I'm holding December $5 puts.
Same, bro. I got December 23 expiration for mine.
Just no holds barred, like 250. This thing's at like 3 times higher than that.
Somebody mentioned weed stocks a minute ago, and I'm wondering if Republicans do take control, if we'd expect less likely legalization.
I would say the same.
Yeah, like I said, it's a daily dose of regard. And as I mentioned, the ETF is comprised of a couple companies, all of which I've heard of, but I've really heard great things about Curaleaf and Cresco.
What was the last one, please?
Cresco?
Okay, yep. All right.
No, but when you're looking at the government being split like this, I mean, are you from a macro perspective? I understand you like those two particular companies, but aren't you facing some pretty strong headwinds?
I believe in it.
Split
I believe in
government?
this recession that the governments will be looking for tax dollars.
Yeah.
Republicans put forth the last bill for marijuana legalization on a federal level. They're actually the ones who put that forth.
Anyone holding Nvidia? They're up like 4% or 3.5% pre-market because I think they just released a new chip that can be sold in China.
Somebody in the chat was asking about AMD, but I don't think we've touched on NVIDIA yet today.
Hearing nothing
So
about NVIDIA. I was just gonna say, so I was holding on to some Honeywell calls, expiring in January. Thing has been on a absolute tear over the past month. I think it's up like 22%, something like that. I actually closed that out. Just starting to get a little bit nervous about it, getting exhausted. But looks like it's still, inching up day by day. Some of the calls that I bought when I averaged down, caught like 6-7 times on those positions. So ended up with a small profit on my overall position, but wondered what you guys thought about like Honeywell. I think Caterpillar, some of these other guys are doing really well, but it's been up and to the right, relentlessly over the past month or so. What do you guys think about that? if they're kind of exhausted now or if they have room to run still.
Buy Caterpillar puts, please.
Why? Wait, what? Why? Please? Are you like trying to convince us? Trying to convince yourself?
Oh no, I don't mess around with options, but I think anything that's still holding up is doomed to go down. Even Apple.
I think he actually has some puts that he's trying to sell, and that's why he wants us to buy Caterpillar puts.
The traveling put salesman. A couple plays from the comments. People talking about DUAC, which was up 40% yesterday. Oxy earnings. THG is that a penny? Oh shit, that's a penny stock. Who are you, Red Star? You bastard! You got me. Someone wanting to short Hun, which I think is Honeywell.
I believe that's the miner.
Boeing's looking a little toppy as well.
Hot mining.
So on Carvana, during yesterday's collapse, I picked up some cheap calls in the anticipation of the pop. It's up a little bit today. That being said, this company's still going bankrupt. If I make any money on these calls, I'm just going to be using them to buy more puts. So, is what it is.
Oh shoot! I'm sorry, Red Star, for the slander. THG is actually not a penny stock, so my apologies. But Honeywell is up bigly, so congratulations to whoever played that. Sorry, your comment just disappeared for me, but good job.
What do you guys think about Lemonade? The insurance company. They have earnings today. I think I'm gonna buy some calls because people still need to pay insurance.
Any thoughts on that, Hardy? I know you played that in the past.
It's been a while since I touched Lemonade, but we'll see to what extent their exposure is for all those who were affected by, it was Ian, a lot of renters down there who were signed up for Lemonade.
Oh, interesting. So you're saying puts on earnings.
It depends entirely on if they set aside enough money to fulfill the claims.
Hardy, it's hard to hear you today.
Sounds about right. I'm not at my usual desk.
That's a lot better. Thanks.
Could you guess that Lemonade customers are on the aggregate lower quality than more traditional insurers? Because they're like, tech first, and maybe you have a lot.
Are you saying they're watered down?
To take away from that, but lower ability to pay, perhaps.
Hey, just to come back on that Caterpillar stock, isn't it a housing play at the end of the day? Like, if the housing market's not doing good, aren't there no new houses getting built? So therefore, less need for Caterpillar products.
You use
What about the
Caterpillar products
mine?
to
Commercial
build
buildings.
Caterpillar's used more in mining, resource extraction, not residential construction.
Yeah, they're like
Oh yeah, I
mining
just
and
read
then
that on
like
Google.
roads.
Here's
Okay, never
farmers.
mind.
Sorry, so whoever mentioned THG being a good company, just a quick question. Why? It's down like 92% since it IPO'd like January of last year. So just curious on your thought about why that it's doing okay. So feel free to come up, Red Star or Eastern area.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Yes.
I
Um,
have one
go ahead.
earnings play for the week. Coupang, the the Korean e-commerce company. I think puts on is in order on them.
Why?
It's just part of the overpriced IPO junk that came out over the past, year, 2 years ago, or a year and a half, whatever. But yeah, just way overpriced. They're still losing money.
Yeah, but they're doing it. I mean, they're doing more business in Korea than Amazon is in the U.S. I mean, they're using them for everything, not just like Amazon shit, like home products, but they're getting like food delivered from Coupang, and those guys are like 24/7. I've never seen a company like Coupang in my life.
So it's as if Amazon and Uber had a baby?
Yeah.
Or Uber
Exactly.
Eats, rather.
What's the ticker? Is that CPNG?
I believe so. Let me look it up again.
Yep. CPNG.
Betty from YouTube is asking for opinions on DWAC. They want to buy puts after it ran 40% yesterday.
IV's high. Look at buy rights instead.
Sound advice.
Oxy has earnings today. Might pay calls.
Playing the weekly on the Oxy, is that right?
Yeah.
Sorry, how are you playing Oxy?
Earnings after market today. Calls.
On the weekly.
Friday expiration probably.
Wouldn't expect anything else from you degenerates.
Anybody else playing hot on earnings?
I'm sorry, I'm cutting in for the Oxy. I would buy them earlier today. They usually run up into it. And then that way you have them earlier. But I know a lot of people like to buy them later, but gas is just going crazy. Or all the oil companies have been going crazy. And Oxy, Berkshire Hathaway owns a ton of it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, we got 3 minutes to market open, but we could stick around for longer. Throw up the Doge if you want to keep this thing going after market open. See 1, 2. Can't keep counting that fast. All right, we'll keep it open.
How long did you guys talk yesterday? I thought you'd be only 5 minutes.
All day.
Holy shit. Scald carried it so well up until the close at 4 p.m.
Amazing.
What about the elephant in the room here? Where is he today? I wanted a scrappy voice.
Oh yeah, our knockoff Alex Jones. Where is he?
Oil guy?
That guy was so good.
That guy's my hero. Not gonna lie. Not Alex Jones. Knock off Alex Jones. It was hilarious. I even asked him if it was. I said, "Are you Alex Jones?" And he just paused for an inordinately long time before saying no.
His energy was something else, bro.
I guess he didn't wake up at 4 a.m. and do a bunch of cocaine.
Wow, we could have used him on the work sites a few times.
All right, 2 minutes to go. Last minute plays before market open. What are you trying to get into today?
I'm gonna watch AMC. If I see it run up today, I'm gonna pick up puts for earnings because it's AMC.
Well, I have calls, so.
And puts on Robinhood.
Puts on Robinhood, didn't they have earnings a week ago?
Yes. I just hate the company with all my heart. This is a passion play, not a logical one.
Well, no better way to make money in the market than with your emotions.
Revenge trade.
Revenge trade, yeah.
Hit it hard.
SPX calls.
Can your girlfriend sue you for revenge trading?
I believe that's a
you
different
mean
kind of revenge act, Sad. But,
I'll consult my lawyer, thanks.
That's the market. Good luck.
How are pharmaceuticals doing?
Oh, that was a messed up air horn. Sorry, guys.
You are forgiven.
All right, now into the pre-market market talk.
$14 Ford calls are going to print today. I think that's free money.
Ian, I have a question. How long have you been a mod for?
Wait, me?
Correct. Yes, you.
7.5 years. It's been a wild ride.
Nice.
He's older than the mod god robot.
So if
Are we not going to discuss?
If IV bleeds down on DWAC, I'm going to buy puts because I think they're going to give back these gains because Trump just teased the announcement instead of announcing his presidency last night. But I don't want to pay a high premium for these options.
So
This might be really stupid, but what do you guys think about Walmart next week? Walmart earnings next week?
Let's table that for a second. How about how come
Tesla's falling knives?
How come Trump isn't back on Twitter yet with Elon in charge?
I thought he was unbanned, but he's just not tweeting there.
He's on Truth Social.
Yeah, he's deciding whether or not he's going to rejoin Twitter himself. He's allowed to join it, but he doesn't know if he wants to give. He's got his own competitive platform now, right? That's the whole DWAC play.
Tesla is taking the high dive from the 30 meter.
Yeah, I got 200 puts that are printing hard.
Revisiting the Walmart thing, if you
November
look,
18th.
Walmart performs disproportionately well in recessionary environments. So, based on historic data, which is no indication of future performance, I would expect them to do all right.
Carvana resumes nosedive.
Vertex Energy nosedives on good shorting down to 784.
Tesla's going to be in the 180s.
Oh, thank God! I thought I was going to have to write off my
right
Vertex.
there, 189.
Party City's diving like a
hard.
diving.
Party City's below market cap.
Yep.
That's correct. I apologize. I take this back.
Down goes Tesla.
Put that in your emerald mine and smoke it, Elon.
Now all we need is the announcement that Elon had to sell more Tesla stock to make this deal happen. That was never announced, and it'll really plummet.
Thankfully, that Gorilla Glass is easy to clean.
I got Norwegian Cruise Line printing right now.
I'm sorry, but wasn't Party City going out of business?
Not with the spirit of Halloween.
The party never ends.
What's that voice? He started. He's back. Discount Alex Jones.
Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't know. I was wondering when this thing started, and I couldn't seem to find it. But yeah.
Ooh, Tesla's getting murdered right now.
Yeah, I think I'm
Tesla
going to sell
15.
sell my put at 100% of the profit.
Well, what's up with Snap? How come they're not getting murdered? I bought it, sold it at 738. It's 1023. They're not getting murdered. Credit Suisse is still at $4.14. Burlington is not getting murdered. They're at 135. ZTS, I thought they were going to get murdered. ASML, they're not getting murdered, and neither is Costco, of course. And Blizzard.
They'll get there. There's just too much attention right now on bigger catalysts per se.
Okay, question. How long can I hold these shorts for? I can hold them as long as I want or what?
Until your expiration date. What's your strike date of expiration?
I just shorted them.
Oh, you just bought or sold naked puts?
No, just
Sir,
naked.
sir, do you have any children?
No.
Well, that's a relief.
Oh, man.
What you did was
I don't
incredibly
even know what to
dangerous.
tell you right now, bro.
What you
Wait,
did
you're
was
short. You're
incredibly
short those
dangerous.
stocks.
You may have skipped a few steps.
Yeah, I shorted those. But I'm not talking like massive amounts here. I mean, we're ASML was like 2 shares. Burlington was like 5 shares. Credit Suisse, I got a little anxious and did like 15. And Snap, I did like 20. But, I figured Snap, come on.
What's your view on the chemicals they're putting in the water that turn the frogs gay?
Oh, they taste great.
Lyft puts are printing.
Yeah, I
Those
jumped in that
chemicals make you so much smarter.
SPXS trade.
The only thing that's doing good is WBA, 38.
Tesla trying to come back.
My trip puts are up 433%, but I'm not selling them yet. It's too early.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to sell my Tesla put either. I think it's hitting new lows every single day.
I try never to sell any puts
3 days in a row.
like 10 o'clock or 10:30 before the market really shows its direction.
A slight breather on Carvana just to make sure it doesn't hit circuit breaker again. We'll see what happens. Buddy.
Hey, asking for a friend. What are the odds on the Powerball jackpot now?
It hasn't been announced, right? It's still a technical difficulty, and the numbers haven't been announced from yesterday.
I'd have a technical difficulty signing a $2 billion check too. Fuck out of here. Like, it's all technical difficulties as soon as the money's got to go out. But no, yeah, come on, buy you all the tickets you want to. We got computers that automatically add a 1 to each one of these.
Voter fraud or lottery fraud?
Pyramid scheme lottery.
Just
It's all
fraud
right.
in general. I
It's
don't
tax
really.
fraud.
I don't think it
Dominion's
really
making-
matters. It's just fraud in
Dominion's
general.
making the new machine.
I can see the chairs flying through the air.
Just like Howard Hughes and those other weirdos like Walt Disney, I want to make a planned community called Tendy Town if I win this lottery, and it's going to be filled with you idiots. It's going to be great.
So the Doge for the Tendy Town block party.
Can I send my kids to school for free at the Tendy Academy?
You should send your kids to as many schools as possible.
How about that Mattress Mac?
The only math we teach is the Black-Scholes-Merton equation. Once they're able to solve that, that's the end of the math. No more
You're
math.
good. You're good. You're ready for life.
I see some confused reactions. Black-Scholes-Merton equation is how you calculate options pricing on a given security. For those of you that are unaware.
We were talking about Vertex earlier. Notice it made a comeback back to 880.
I was able to exit my Vertex puts on that dip this morning.
Same, but it was break even.
Those
Yeah,
PBR
same here.
puts have been printing the whole time off and on. They could have made like 5 or 6 plays out of that one single derivative play.
You guys see Carvana's down like 13%. They're under 50. I mean Coinbase, sorry.
Yeah, this is because the FTX deal. I talked about a bank run on FTX yesterday, which was factual, like it was happening. But at a certain point last night, their Bitcoin balance actually went negative, which shouldn't be able to do that because you should only be able to go to zero. So now people are getting suspicious, and the entire crypto market's getting concerned again. So I think Coinbase is going to keep going down, and then it'll probably go up.
Yeah, I might go long on some shares eventually on that one. The PE ratio is just, I mean, they're making money even if it's a bear market. Like,
I know Coinbase is paying out from that lawsuit where they were lying, where they were misleading people about the value of their company. Because I just got a letter from the lawyer for $300.
What happened to Lucid this morning? They were looking decent, and then all of a sudden they turned around on us.
Sometimes that GPS autocorrects.
Yeah, I still think they're a little overpriced.
There's a wicked candle just popping back and forth on it right now. Like on the minute chart, it's acting super weird.
Here's the popping candles.
It's because the shorts are still trying to hold it down. I'm assuming its short info is pretty similar to SoFi's. So if I were to guess, I would say cost to borrow on Lucid is also negative. Cost to borrow minimum is negative, probably. I don't know this for sure because I don't have the vortex in front of me right now.
Just tweaking like a tweaker right now on the chart.
Jesus. I should not have FOMO'd into Carvana. I'm literally just handing money to Theta Gang. Whoever there's in Theta Gang, yep, you're welcome. Go buy yourself a nice dinner or something.
I mean, but you kind of knew that it was going to get ate up by after the dumps. It was almost too late to play that position. Now the call side would be good.
Nope.
But you'd have to play it timing wise.
The volatility spiked so high on that move that it didn't matter. It didn't matter which side you're on. It's just giving money back to the gang. I sold 80% of my put in that 30% drop, and I sold the remaining 20% when it was down yesterday. And then I felt bad because I didn't have any puts on Carvana. And then I FOMO'd back in with a little bit of it.
Activision looks like it's finally starting to move from their earnings yesterday.
yeah, that was me actually. I had bought about $10,000 worth of calls, and I'm up a little bit on those.
Yeah, because when I bought in, it was at 71.87, and it's now 72.41. So that one in WBA.
Yeah, that doesn't move with a shit ton of volume. It's predictability is
Who had the $10,000 division YOLO? Sorry, who's doing that?
That was me. But they're long, like they don't expire till June next year because I'm in case that Microsoft deal goes through.
Yeah, after you said that thesis like last week or the week before, when you were like, "Hey, they're making a ton of money on Diablo Immortal," I installed it just to see how addictive it was. Ended up giving them like $5. I was like, "Damn!" Like I downloaded with the intention of not giving them anything. Like literally, I was like, "There's no way it's that addictive." Very addictive. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's super addicting. Like I usually am pretty good about not spending money on games, but for whatever reason, this one just got me.
Which game are you talking about?
Diablo Immortal from Blizzard Activision. They
Some of the cool shit when it was announced, and
whenever it's almost like whenever you get an achievement in the game. I'm gonna go ahead and mute you, U.S. soldier. It's like whenever you get an achievement in the game, they're like, "Hey, do you want to spend $1 to get all this stuff? Like, do you want to spend 99 cents?" And they do that frequently enough. It's like it's better than slot machine, man.
Boom! Because everybody can afford $1. Anybody can afford 99 cents. They got it.
Is this the game that somebody spent $200 on?
I did not spend $200 on it.
Is this the game like last week somebody said
I've
they
spent
spent
like
$150?
$500 on it.
How much?
500.
You are?
Yep, that's why I bought calls, because I knew they've made 300 million in revenue so far this year just on this game, which is like they're on track to beat like a record, I think, for a mobile game.
Yep.
Can I ask you a question? Does Diablo Immortal, or I guess I'm sure they do because most of those mobile games do. Did they have like a Halloween event where it's like, hey, half price on buying stuff, blah blah blah, super special stuff for Halloween?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Where did they end up on the App Store? Because I checked them yesterday. They're like 93rd on Google Play and 101st on the iPhone App Store. So they weren't doing too hot. But usually those games, if they're doing well, should be pushing towards like top 20, top 10 when they're running those types of events.
I couldn't answer. I have no idea why. I have no idea.
I know they went from
I'll give it a
108.
check. I'll give it
They
a
were
check
at
on
108.
I'll give it a check in a little bit, and I'll let you know. But if it's making the money, like doing well as an app, it should be pushing like towards top grossing app when it's running events like that.
They're up 2% today.
Tesla new 52-week low.
Yep, 187. Man, my freaking 200s puts are printing.
On Activision, what about the other game? Sorry, what about the other game that was like at $1 billion? Was it the Modern Warfare one?
Yeah, the new Call of Duty.
Yeah, I think they're pretty low on the Google list or whatever.
They also have, not only that, they've got Overwatch 2. They've also got a new World of Warcraft expansion that's just released, probably bringing back players in, and there's just a bunch of good things going for them right now, I think.
So I just checked for Halloween, Diablo Immortal was 92nd for top grossing on the App Store, which is pretty darn low for a game running an event of that time. Just
how about Modern Warfare?
Modern Warfare? Hang on. Or as does I don't know what the mobile version of Modern Warfare is.
So I'm not sure exactly the player base, the PC to mobile on Diablo Immortal, because I actually play mostly on PC if I'm at my desk, because they also like ported it over to PC as well. So I wonder if that's what could be messing with the numbers, maybe.
I don't know. I'll post the link in chat so people can look at it, but you'll see usually when those mobile games are running like their promotions, like, hey, half price on money, they should be pushing towards top grossing if they're doing well on the mobile side. But I'll put it in chat now, and people, you can change the dates, change the stores between, like, US and Japan are the ones to look at because they're usually spending the most money, but people can play around and see.
Carvana has completed its dead cat bounce and has continued to plummet, it appears.
I wasn't sure how I missed it, but Apple really took a hit when their supply chain issues came around. They're down like maybe like 8 or 9% since then.
Yeah, but did you hear beating people to get them back to work or something like that, or beating people out of the way that had COVID or something, and then they're like, "We're gonna get this iPhone factory back online" or something. Yeah.
I guess they lost the battle to keep people locked into the factories when they had COVID.
Just when you thought they didn't need a caffeine ban.
We talked about Lyft this morning.
Go.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
We have?
No, not at all. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's down 18% after earnings. They actually beat. They had an increase of writers, increase of revenue. They just got downgraded by these other institutions, which is why it's dropping. Looks like it's trying to match the drop of Uber after their earnings pop, and then like if you take where they popped on earnings and then to today, so they're trying to like catch up, I guess. I don't know, but might be a good time to enter a position into Lyft. Their numbers looked really good, apparently. I just read the article on it.
You got a specific play lined up, or just perusing calls further out, or buying shares?
IV crush after earnings, maybe some calls. I don't know. I just woke up, so it's too early.
Nice. Rip the bong once or twice. Let us know.
Don't forget the coffee slut.
And some coffee.
So Lyft's got to hold its 52-week low, which was $10.82 on October 11th, 22. So it's just hovering around 11.30 is the range today. 11.30 to 12.19. Currently at 11.49.
Puts on the entire gig economy.
You're going to put puts on a gig economy in a recession when everybody's getting laid off? I mean,
you got to sell them, bro. You sell those puts, eat those shares up.
Lyft is down 20% today.
I think it's an overreaction.
Yeah, I like that. I like a call. I think I'm just going to buy straight up calls. Check this out.
I mean, everybody continues to preach the word recession like it hasn't been here for a year. You see what I mean? Like, I get where you're coming from, but this recession isn't coming, or it's been here. And the sentiment just isn't there. You know what I mean?
That's true, but they got layoffs coming, and when layoffs come, people lose their cars. People need Lyft to go get groceries and shit.
Well, right, but those Lyft drivers are in the same position. So are those Uber drivers. And at the end of the day, I don't know how many people have actually performed in that gig economy, but to try to make your payments off of strictly like Lyft or Uber is challenging, to say the least.
Right, I don't know how they do it, man. Sometimes I'll use one around town. I'll be like $10 for 3 miles.
But I don't know.
Check out Planet Fitness. Check out Planet Fitness. It's popping. It's up. Planet Fitness.
The lack of customer, the gross supply of drivers, I don't think negatively affects the stock. It might negatively affect the driver because they can't get individual rides. But if more people are needing rides, which is what their report claims, they had an increase of riders, and you've got these in the last 4 months, all these large companies have been laying off people because they've stopped growth. So you've got just people looking to scrape the bottom of the barrel to find work. You've got Lyft.
Well, that's so. I have a buddy who's a he's a retired, well, not retired. He was a stockbroker, fell into hard times, to say the least, and then he ended up, after he got out of like recovery for whatever drug addiction, he ended up becoming a Uber and a Lyft driver. And his take on the whole thing is, so a very smart guy, went through both, and he said, and he's a mechanical guy, so he'd buy cars, use them up in a year. You get and he says, here's what happens: is you do your taxes after 1 year of being a Lyft driver or an Uber driver or anybody in the gig economy, Uber Eats, any of that stuff, and you find out you've lost money. So after you burn through the vehicle, the gas and whatever, you lost. It's a losing proposition. He goes, and that's what people probably do. Once they get through one set of tax returns, they figure out they've lost money becoming a driver, and they're not going to keep these guys doing the job. And that's the downfall, I think, of that.
They're also then not going to qualify for any loans from then on out. So once you're a 1099 and you're working on your own, you've got to show a profitable tax income for any loan whatsoever. So what happens to that gig driver that decides to claim that loss that year because it's his right to do so and he lost money? What happens to him next year when his car has been abused beyond repair and he can no longer afford to put himself in another vehicle because his interest rate is insanely high because he can't show that he made any money the year before, which means no lender's going to touch him.
Yeah, well, you have to own a car to make it. According to this guy who did it, he's like, the only way you have a chance is you got to be able to buy a shitty car and have it, be able to keep the thing running, and have it halfway decent so you can, so you qualify for whatever the requirements are. So it's roadworthy, it's okay. But if there's no way you can lease a car and be an Uber driver or a Lyft driver or anybody in the gig economy and make money. You're going to lose money every single time.
And that's my thesis for why I have puts on the gig economy. Yes, it is an economy that does have emerging growth opportunities short term, but in the long term, it's a gateway to indentured servitude. And I'm not talking like, indentured servitude, $15 an hour at the McDonald's. I'm talking like indentured servitude, like you're barely scraping by at $3.50 a week, and you gotta make bills off of that too.
Tesla's rebounding.
Someone in the know told me.
Yeah, so, are we able to ask about crypto over here or no? It's just stocks.
No.
Okay, all right.
Not really. I'm going to run a talk on crypto later.
Ask you then.
But I don't know. Like, if it's something pretty interesting, like FTX and FTT token, and like Binance getting involved, like I think that's kind of worth talking about. Or if it's related to like Coinbase, Mara, Riot. Like,
that's what I was going to ask about. Actually, like, what the hell's going on with that?
So I can answer. Scott kind of talked about this earlier, but basically Binance was all like, be careful, like this is financial advice. FTX is illiquid. So everyone started withdrawing from FTX, and Binance is dumping their, I think, like $500-ish million worth of FTT, which is their token. And the idea is that everything that FTX has is kind of backed by its own token and things like that, and it's all kind of just like a pyramid chain of tokens that are maybe not as liquid as people think they are. So price of FTT has fallen significantly, and it's kind of taken the market with it, and that might be because FTX is selling off assets to either keep the FTT market like up, even though it's down like 25%, but and keep it liquid, or to like ensure that they like selling off Solana, for example, to be able to buy Bitcoin in order to fund withdrawals. I'm not sure exactly how they manage their deposits, but allegedly they don't invest anything, not even in treasuries. So we're not sure. I'm not sure how accurate that is. Scald, I don't know if you can add to that. Maybe I'm way off.
No, that's pretty much it. And a bank run on crypto would, in theory, depress the price. But in theory, because it's like verified on chain, then it should have 0 Bitcoins, right? The problem is the bank run started yesterday morning, which I mentioned briefly on the chat. I just said there's a bank run happening. In the intervening 24 hours, their Bitcoin value on the app briefly showed negative. This caused a lot of people in the crypto community to panic because, again, if you have 100 Bitcoins and you withdrew 100, the account should be at 0. There should be no way
for an account to go into a negative balance. And the fact that that happened has a lot of eyebrows raised.
I think the charitable explanation is that, for example, they have most of their coins stored, either in cold storage or some multi-sig wallet, and so they need time to transfer it into their hot wallet to pay out withdrawals. But yeah, it's very reminiscent of the Robin Hood when that kid had his balance go super negative and then committed suicide. So I think the thing that is interesting though here is that you can really crush a competitor in crypto just by saying like, hey, there's going to be a bank run in this exchange. And because people have had terrible experiences before, everyone starts rushing out and taking out their money. And then if you layer on top of that the fact that they had $500 million in FTT, and then they start dumping that, it kind of makes me wonder, is this all really just like one competitor, Binance, who has a history of being absolutely ruthless, taking out another? Or are they, is something truly wrong with Alameda and FTX?
So the theory that not the theory, but what I've heard about the politics behind why the standoff between FTX and Binance is that Binance was involved very early on with a lot of what FTX's startup was, and FTX has recently they've been buying up small exchanges like crazy, and they're one of the few exchanges that are humoring the idea of know your customer. So certain like your driver's license, this, that, right? Because FTX is actively trying to become legitimate, whereas Binance is actively trying to remain sort of decentralized and untouched by government. And so I believe they had a clash of ideology, and now Binance is just basically like, fuck these guys. We're dumping all our FTT, and we're going to fuck them because they're going to fuck everybody. Because Binance is very, very, very pro decentralization, and Binance they're never going to IPO. They're never going to, like, you know what I mean? Like, Binance wants to stay the way they are. And FTX is trying to sort of, I guess you could call it, compromise with governments to sort of become more legitimized, right?
I think we call that a sellout.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess they want to become the Coinbase, the IPO, and have a huge, lofty valuation like Coinbase did. Although it's interesting, I don't know if you saw that LBRY coin. I don't know what the actual full name is, but I think they were some kind of it's a cryptocurrency or token. They actually went to fight with the SEC, who was trying to deem them a security, and they lost. And it was kind of funny because one of the citations in the case was that one of their community managers replied to a comment on Reddit saying, like, yeah, like these tokens will go up only if, we manage to execute on our plan. And that was part of the reasoning as to why it failed the Howey test and why it was classed as a security. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But I think the reckoning is coming for a lot of these crypto companies. I'm not sure if there's any publicly traded companies that have issued a cryptocurrency. I know Overstock did, maybe back in like 2016 or 17. They tried to ICO for like 250 million, but only raised like 102 million, which is crazy. I'm saying only. So I wonder if that's going to come back and haunt them. Or maybe it already has. Let me go take a look. But sorry, I feel like I've diverted this conversation so far into crypto. If you guys want to talk about the actual markets,
Thank you for the insight, opinion, and everyone else who joined in.
Yeah, absolutely. What's Tesla, Carvana, and all the other dying stocks doing today?
Yeah, speaking of crypto, though, while we're still on the subject briefly, I do have to go at some point today because I am raising money for a new company that I'm launching. So I'm saying I can't hang out for the entire trading day today. I will have to. For a period, I'm going to have to go.
It's not really stock related, but I'm curious. Pitch us your company. Do a trial run with us. I'm curious to hear all about it.
Sell me on it.
Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. It's a semi-cooperative, semi-competitive, collectible card game. So basically, 3 to 5 players work together, and at the end, whoever made the best item gets the first choice in what to keep. But your score for the entire game is determined by everybody's crafting. So you can't completely just dump on your competitors. You still have to let them win a little bit. So that's how it's different from regular card games. There's not just like a clear winner and loser. There's a little more game theory involved. And then the art for it is incredibly dope. We've programmed it completely in Unreal Engine. We even have a digital mead hall where you can go into VR and actually sit down at a table across from someone else and play the card game virtually if you really want to do that. So it's pretty dope. On the back end, it's all NFT based if you want it to be. If not, you can play it like a regular game. It's up to the player if they want to use the crypto aspect. We view the crypto as a value add, not as a main feature. But if you want to trade your cards, you can, but you don't have to. So that's the pitch.
No, that's awesome.
What's the
I
name?
hope you,
The name is Nibelung, Niblung, Nibelung.com. And it's all about dwarves and stuff like that.
Oh, that's so in sync with your avatar.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna put on my Dragon's Den cap.
Norwegian
Some
cruise
stuff.
lines up 8%.
Do you have a play on them?
Yeah, I'm up.
Tesla just keeps paying off that 188 support. If that breaks, God help them. It looks like it's a ways down to the next support after that.
That's what people said at 200, and then it like immediately shot down once it broke through 200.
I think we said yesterday that 180 was the next support.
Yeah, I mean, 188 to 180, that would be a huge move. It'd be pretty nasty.
I got something that's kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody cares or whatnot, but
Go for it.
all right. I'm not going to say like what the service was or whatever, because then that would, I don't get any benefit from it or anything like that. I'm a new trader, so I use this particular person or whatever. And so far, all 5 of his last trades, the most recent one I did was the DIA 330 December 16th call. Bought for like $5.90 and just sold it for $9.55. So that was the first time I actually did a trade with, this little service dude or whatever, this app, I guess, anyway. So far that's the first profit, but I'd watched him on the 2 or 3 other trades before that. Now, out of the, we started with the first trade, the middle trade, he didn't make any money on. We didn't make any money on that one, but then the third trade we did. So I guess kind of a take it for what it's worth.
Wait a second. Are you paying for these like trade alert type stuff?
Well, okay, so I did this thing called one ticker trader.
Oh.
That Larry Benedict dude, has anybody heard of him?
All right.
Go on.
I got a message from, so it was like $19 or something like that.
No, Nemo, no.
No. What are... All right, go on.
Okay, it wasn't that. I don't know what it was. Right. So I just get a note that said, hey, traders and so, we're looking at this call. And,
Oh, don't pay for this stuff. What they do is they buy a little bit before, they announce it to all of their quote unquote subscribers, and they dump on them, and they make some money off the the subscription fees and stuff.
I figured it was going to be something like that, and that's why I waited for at least the 5 trades or whatnot. The first 3 of them I paper traded. This latest one was the DIA 330 December 16th call that he said, don't buy it. If it's over $5.95, don't buy it. So I got it for $5.90. And
He beat the system opinion.
I see. Sorry to interrupt. Mom Spaghetti in the comments is saying that FTX just halted all withdrawals. I'm not sure if that's similar to yesterday when they quote unquote temporarily halted withdrawals and then I think they came back online, but might be something to take a look at if you are so invested.
Might make a coin move a little bit. Sorry.
You on the outside of an airplane? You're in a lot of wind turbulence.
What ticker were you talking about, Opinion?
I got F-16s flying over my head right now. My bad.
No worries. FTX, that's not a ticker. It's a crypto firm.
Hey, this might be a stupid question, but how is halting withdrawals legal? Is it like in the contract you sign when you sign up, or what?
Yep. It's basically it's in the contract. They can do what they want.
Yeah, it's not regulated like a bank, so
it's
not
illegal.
It's just straight up not illegal. They can just you don't own anything on there. It's all theirs. They own it.
Thank you.
Oh,
yeah, it's all about interpretation when you get your lawyer.
Scald getting reports in the YouTube comments that Tesla's touching 187. Are we looking for 180? I hear excitement. I hear people buying puts.
Hey, I was here. I was here yesterday as the guy preaching Peloton puts. I have a $9 strike price for January 20th, 23, and today it is actually at 887. It dropped 5%. So
nice.
Not too late to get in. It's gonna go zero.
How did Peloton ever become a quote unquote tech company? I really don't understand. What the hell were we thinking in 2021?
They strap the cell phone to a bicycle.
Yeah,
and
we started talking about this yesterday, that it was the combination of like the technology of app sharing kind of devices and then workout devices. But there are so many other third parties out there like Slab, where you can like have the gym installed in your home on that smart screen, that just do it so much better than what Peloton was offering. And then their market price for their product for the bike itself is just fucking absurd.
And then they really killed themselves when they made it where the bikes will no longer work if you don't pay for the app.
Yeah.
Hold on, what? Like the bicycle actually will not allow you to pedal?
It won't start.
It won't even
work if you don't have the app installed.
So they became one of those gym things like that. Like it's only going to work in a gym, or you're going to hang clothes on it at your house.
Yup.
I remember my mom used to watch aerobics channels for free on TV in the 80s and 90s. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Come on.
That's why I am bare all the way on Peloton.
I used to watch Jane Fonda in the 80s and 90s.
I still watch Jane Fonda. Wait, what?
There's brain damage here today.
Okay, so unpopular opinion about the crypto exchanges is I like to watch stuff about the drug cartels and stuff. Not that I like them, but I'm interested in it. And like
Yo, Chapo Guzman.
The way they work now, right, is like they buy guns and precursors for drugs from China and North Korea with cryptocurrency, so the money doesn't get confiscated. So Binance is just going to kill these other exchanges. It's going to, like, in a crypto winter, like that's the main real world use case for crypto, whether people like it or not. If it's not up, the main real world case is the black market.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I can't remember which exchange, but there was an exchange that was found to be, transacting a certain amount of money for the Iranian government, which is sanctioned by the U.S. And so they're in deep shit because of that. Tornado Cash, which was a mixer, is on the OFAC list, which means that anyone doing business with them is in deep shit. So it's definitely risky waters for anyone trading crypto or companies in the crypto space if they're not doing their KYC. And the problem is because there are such long timelines for enforcement that, you could be like 3 or 4 years out and then suddenly get an enforcement action. And so I think whenever you're looking at any of these companies, like in the crypto space, you have to not just look at, the recent quarter or year, but you also have to look way further back to see if there's any like litigation risk. That being said, I see a ton of people in the comments talking about, Tesla puts going burr. Crooks and Castle in the YouTube comments is like giving me like minute by minute updates. Tesla hit 187, 186. So I think there's a lot of excitement around Tesla right now.
Also on the NCLH.
Yes, Norwegian Cruise Lines. Are you looking at the comments as well? There's this one guy, he's just like, talk about NCLH, talk about NCLH.
Yeah, I see that too.
Hey, I did want to mention one last thing. I did set up a quick subreddit. So if you go to rniblung, RNIBLUNG, you can see some examples of the art that we have coming out. It's NIBLUNG. It's a subreddit. So anyway, moving on. Last I mentioned it.
No, we're excited for you. I really want to hear how your pitch goes and if you're able to raise money. And maybe we'll do a talk about the general situation right now, raising money, because it's an interesting topic for companies that want to go public. There's actually another CEO reached out to us wanting to do an AMA or a Reddit talk around IPOing his company called Rally. But the problem is it was like a $300 million market cap. But I do think it's an interesting topic. So I don't know, do you guys want to hear about that kind of stuff, like someone going through the IPO process?
Yes, that would be awesome.
I would like to hear that.
Yeah, I'll throw money at it. Wait, what?
WallStreetBets meme chase cards in those packs.
I mean, like, I've been involved in like venture, but like my involvement with venture capital has been in like early, like A round, seed round. Like IPO is a completely different world, and I'd love to learn about it.
Same here.
All right, well, we'll see if we can make that happen.
How would you establish your market cap pre-IPO? Like, how is that defined? Because isn't the definition of market cap on post-IPO based off of like outstanding shares and their value?
So here's
go ahead.
I can talk at like the venture level. So here's how it typically works with most companies. Especially in seed rounds and A rounds, they don't necessarily even have revenue yet. So what they'll say, well, we think our IP is worth $10 million. So I say, I've got a game, I've got it made in Unreal Engine, I've got all these proprietary tools, I've got all these patents in crypto and in the gaming world. I think my company's worth $10 million. So we're going to sell 20% of our stock at a $2 million valuation to private investors. And either they say that's a reasonable valuation, or they're going to say you're an idiot. But a lot of these like beginning first rounds, it's literally like a team and a dream. And then later, when they start delivering, as soon as you start to get revenue, then you're valued at a multiple of your sales, because there are tables for that. There are spreadsheets for that. But the earliest phases of investment, it's a lot of speculation.
You watch them on Shark Tank, they tear them up.
Yeah, that's a little different. But yeah, I kind of get that. I was just trying to figure out how pre-IPO evaluations were derived. Well, that makes a lot more sense to me. Appreciate it, Skull.
Well, and what you've seen with these tech companies is they've avoided getting revenue and focused on maximizing cash flow, because the advantage of taking that route is then you don't have a value assigned to your company by the market. Instead, it stays in the speculative phase for as long as possible. And you're like, I don't know, is it a $2 billion company? Is it a $600 billion company? I don't know. It's Tesla. Could be anything, right? So you've seen a lot of tech companies go that route where they try to stay in that speculative pre-revenue, pre-sales phase as long as possible. And it's pretty interesting.
How
That
many
makes
licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
I mean, that makes sense though. from a business aspect because that just brings in more free cash flow year over year, and if you can exponentially show more growth over time, with longer being a bonus to a certain extent, then your evaluation can be higher when it does come to the later rounds. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Scold, what was that sub? I'm trying to find it here.
It's Reddit NIBLUNG. NIBLUNG, Niblung.
Closed out my Lyft position up 108%. I know it's going to continue down, but I am satisfied.
Carvana's down 10%. It do.
All right, some time-sensitive question being asked in the comments. iMan with no plant, what username, is asking, what do you guys consider a good return on options? This guy's got SPY calls for 375, and his current return is 71%. They're expiring tomorrow, so should he hold or did he sell?
Ride. Sell.
Sell.
All right, man with no plans. If you're hearing that you got 3 people telling you to sell and 1 person telling you to hold. So I don't know. But if you do sell, I hope you're able to buy a plant.
Don't let a green trade turn red.
Don't let your green go brown.
Oh, God.
Hey, I got one more question about your game. Are you using a program like Stable Diffusion or Dream Studios to generate those Unreal models or what?
Yeah, so I'm actually using 2 to 3 different neural networks. I'm using one for pixel interpolation for HD upscaling. I'm using another for initial image generation, and then I'm using a thing called a generative facial prior. This neural network has been trained on a bunch of human faces, and it makes inhuman things look more human. It depends on whether or not I apply the GFP as to the subject. So if it's like this spirit that's on fire, I'm not going to use the generative facial prior because it looks like a monster. But if it's supposed to look like a person, I will drop it through the GFP GAN. Of those, 2 of them are my own design of neural networks, and one of them I'm paying somebody else to use their neural network. I have a background in machine learning and stuff like that, so that's why I'm able to do that.
It looks great, man. That Stable Diffusion and stuff has been blowing my mind, bro. I've been following it since it came out, but good job, dude.
Skull, do you have a link to to anywhere that we can look at this, or is it going to be pitched and then from there we'll have more information about it?
I have our Niblung, NIBLUNG, and Niblung.com, NIBLUNG.com is our website for now, but we got to do some work on that puppy. It's just a first draft.
Yeah. You want to post it in the chat?
Yeah, post it in the chat so we can look at it.
Chat.
All right.
I think it's
Post in the chat.
Post it in the chat.
All right.
Shameless.
Go ahead, put that in the chat, would you?
It's what the
Appreciate
audience
the
wants.
hustle,
So
though.
we have to.
You have to. Oh, I don't know. Someone's telling me silver is on fire. What else we got? More market related with words I can understand. Generative artists.
Doctor, if they're experiencing fire symptoms.
What was that, Sad? Sorry, you cut out.
They should go see a doctor if they're experiencing fire symptoms.
Fire symptoms. What is that?
Carvana.
Oh.
Are
they at 250 yet?
Yeah. Down 10% for today almost. That's a fire symptom right there. Somebody's rectum was on fire.
Sorry, who'd I cut off?
No, I was just going to ask what the major reporters are after markets today. Any fast puts or call plays?
I'm going in on AMC for earnings after hours. I'm just going to wait a little bit because I feel like it's going to run up and I might be able to get in cheaper.
Also, Dole is doing all right today.
Hendricks, why don't you sell some calls and just harvest that premium?
Wow. I haven't heard Dole in so long.
This was just talking about it the other day.
It's always on my mind, Dole. I'm always there.
Honestly, okay, it's because my knowledge on selling options is extremely limited, and I'm still just wrapping my head around buying options. So, at some point, I'm sure I'll start selling, but right now, I just like to buy.
I just started when there's pops. When there's a pop on something that sucks, I don't mean it's something that sucks. When there's a pop on something that shouldn't pop, when GME had their pop, I did sell some calls long dated. And little by little, those premiums are just coming in, and by the time they come to maturity, everything that you got for a premium selling it is yours.
Well, let's fix that. Okay, like what questions do you have about trading options? Monitor is telling us that we're wasting time, so let's make this a little bit more informative. What don't you understand about selling options?
I understand it. I just can't wrap my head around the total risk. I understand the risk factors, let's say, right? Like, so I understand the mechanics of selling options and being playing market maker. But as far as being able to wrap my head around the total risk involved, I don't feel that my knowledge on how stock movements and implied volatility and all that matches that risk level. So for me right now, I sit, I learn, I listen to you guys play. And at some point, the light switch will flip on, and I'll feel comfortable enough to do it. That's how it worked with options for me, and I expect the same to happen on that end of it as well.
Well, options profit calculator might be a valuable resource for you. That's where you can put in the parameters of your trade and learn the exact risk of every dollar you invest and the potential for down or upswings.
My whole issue, Sad, is that during market hours is my busiest time of day. So my ability to sit down and do that math in real time is non-existent. So for me, I have a small window in the morning between 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. Eastern where I'm able to sort of sit down and figure out some plays, right? And then I got to get back to work. So my ability to be responsive as the markets are moving is limited, right? So that's why I sort of like to keep my risk limited.
So yeah, I mean, it's a tool you could use the day before, when you have some free time, just as a pre-screener to a potential trade you're making.
I'm gonna look into it for sure.
Yeah, that's a good website. It shows you different values of all different Greeks, so you can make the best potential decision. Even not so much during market hours, but you can do your math for any given variable.
Red Pope in the comments was talking about how his issue with new IPOs is that you can't really get in until noon, and by then the price has usually increased. Well, Red Pope, like some brokers, I think the better brokers have access to what is called like a new issue. And so if you are able to find those, sometimes you're able to get into the IPO process and pay what everyone else is or everyone else who's entering the IPO is paying. But it really depends on who your broker is and how much allocation they have. A lot of the time, if something gets oversubscribed and goes above the oversubscription limit, then they'll like give you a fraction of the amount that you put in relative to how much the whole thing was oversubscribed. So that can be one way to get into an IPO, quote unquote, early. But just make sure that you're doing your research beforehand, because it's not always true that, once something IPOs, it goes up. I've seen a couple. There was one actually new issue that I was about to get into, but I was kind of like sketched out by some things, so I didn't. It IPO'd at about $5, and it literally never went above $5 after it IPO'd. Like I think it opened the first trading day at like 4.90, and I think it's probably like $1 something or under $1 now. It never went above $5. So really glad I didn't touch that.
Was that WeWork?
It's a Canadian company that is probably way below the market cap.
Also, here in the U.S., we now have Reg D offerings. Thanks, Obama. Obama actually was the one that passed this with the Jobs Act. It's basically somewhere in between like a standard IPO versus almost like crowdfunding. So it's somewhere in between an IPO versus a Kickstarter where it falls like regulation wise. They're called Reg D. And sometimes you'll see these companies where they allow basically non-accredited investors to invest in startups. And those.
Oh, shoot. Whoops. Scald, I think I accidentally muted you. I meant to mute.
Oh, I was just saying those can be highly risky. Miso Robotics is notable for trying to raise a lot of money in this method. They're the people that make the robots that are supposedly going to replace everyone in fast food joints.
What about Miso Horny? I invested in.
But here's the thing: they just keep raising money this way. They've never IPO'd. They've been raising money through this method for like 5 years. So it's like unclear to me if people are ever going to see that money back.
They broke the system. Yeah.
Sad. You can never go bad with investing in the oldest profession.
I have a bunch of SafeMoon that I can donate to you. Now, it may cost more for you to convert it back to cash, but just throwing that out there.
This might be another dumb question, but are options available on IPOs or no?
No.
No, there's typically a 90-day lockout period. And then after that period expires, it's up to the underwriters and brokers. So even after that time expires, it's not guaranteed to get options. There has to be someone willing to like sell the options. Even after that time period expires, it's not guaranteed to get options on a given security.
Good to go. Thank you.
I see PayPal is up 4% today. It's like these things. It had good fundamentals. I was talking about this yesterday actually, but it crashed on their earnings even though they were up 13% above the expected. So it looks like fundamentals are catching up. And I think this is a trend that I'm starting to see where these companies crash on earnings, and then if they beat the expected, they start going back up a few days later.
Yeah, by like 5 or 6%, they go back up. They make a pretty huge recovery.
Carvana down 11% on the day. Carvana down 11% on the day.
Jesus. What is that? 40% over the past 2 days?
It was 50%. It was down like 50% on Friday. So.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's bled down from like $15 a share. It's currently at $6.57.
Anybody buying Carvana bonds with the hope that they'll tank out?
What is that?
No, but I mean, who the hell thought these fucking vending machines were a good idea?
I mean, they look cool. They look pretty fucking cool, but it's so stupid.
Hey, the person that was talking about Miso, was that the robotics? You're aware of the Boston Dynamics company?
I saw that delivery robot get its ass kicked yesterday in a Reddit video.
Any day now, the robot uprising will begin.
And also, shame on us all for not shorting it Carvana since it was at $300 a share.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, helicopter. How are those TripAdvisor puts looking?
It says I'm up 455%, and I haven't sold a single one of them yet.
That sounds about right.
I've seen
200% for me.
Yeah, so you're the one that took my advice yesterday and bought it during the call?
Yeah, we both bought them together. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw last night when it cut down to like 19 or 18. I'm like, I wondered who was at the bottom. I wanted to make sure he still had them. or that he was happy that he had them for sure. Yeah, I think that's going down probably to the 16 level.
Yeah,
maybe 15 at least. I'm going to hold them for a while. I know I should sell some of them, but I mean, at 43 cents a share, I only bought 10 contracts, so I'm just trying to ride it out because to me it's not the usual amount of options I buy. I usually buy about 2 to 3 grand worth.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard. You always say, sell half at 100, and then let the rest ride.
Yeah, I'm going to sell half at 1,000% and let the rest ride. I'm sorry now. Yeah, this one is just a little bit. It's a little bit different. They made 23 cents a share, or something ridiculously small. That puts them at under $1 per year, and so that puts their PE ratio of 12 would be $12 a share. It's something I'm willing to hold. It's like if I had to take a gamble on them today, I'd buy $1,000 worth of puts on it. So I'm going to keep that money in there, even though it's a couple grand, and just keep going and watching them. And if I lose it, then hey, I've made worse decisions before. But I think there's calculated risks that I should do.
Yeah, if you lose it, I mean, remember, we're all still here to remind you how bad of a mistake you made.
What happened to that guy that was up like 800% on his SPY call that one day? Did he ever sell it?
God, I hope so.
I sold when I had a 4-bagger on SPY the other day, and then it turned into an 18-bagger after I sold, which is why you never check back.
No, you sell and then you close the app. Yeah.
Sold. You got to treat sold calls like your exes. You don't check up on them; they're gone. You're done with them.
Another reason.
Absolutely.
Sorry, another reason I'm going to keep the TripAdvisors. Their forward guidance was for 18 cents a share. So that means if they do that yearly, that would be roughly 80 cents. That adds to the PDE ratio. So yeah, with that guidance, I'm holding that for a bit.
So AMC after hour earnings, up or down? Do we think it's going to go down before this so-called vote of APE and AMC conversion?
If they announce that vote, which yes, that's what I'm betting on. I know, dumb bet, but whatever. But if they announce that vote, it's going to go down because they're essentially saying, hey, we want to dilute the living crap out of you. So it will move down.
They already said that when they first dropped the APE preferred shares.
They did one offering on the APE, and I got a feeling that he's right, and that is my whole thesis with the AMC earnings play. I think they're going to announce more dilution, and I think that's going to crush the stock. I'm in at 5s, 450s, and 4s.
I'm literally expecting them to be like, hey, we have great news. All those free APE shares we gave you can now become AMC. Aren't you excited? And then APE's going to pump up because that's what's going to happen. I'm going to sell really quick and then wash my hands of it and watch as it becomes a complete mess. That's literally my plan.
Hey, started. Were you the one that bought 250 or puts on Carvana yesterday?
No, I did not buy any puts yesterday.
I don't remember who it was, but if that was you, could you please stand up and tell the audience because we have a. Oh,
that was Human Genome. I have the 250 puts on Carvana.
There's a friendly gentleman called Johnny C in the YouTube comments. He'd like to kick you in the balls very, very hard and repeatedly because he followed you on that trade at he bought it I think at 8 cents and I think it's now worthless. So
opinion, we're gonna need weapons, aren't we?
Mine are long term, so mine are green, so I'm doing good on those.
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing about theta decay and time value of options. So if you are buying a stock on a high volatility spike, like all of a sudden it tripled its daily volume, and you buy a weekly, not all the time, but the vast majority of the time, that option is going to drop in value when whatever that event was that caused that increase in activity fades. And so that's why Human Genome is green, whereas this person in the comments sounds like he's not, because he bought longer dated. So that effect is sort of neutralized by the time value of his longer dated option.
Yeah, that's exactly why. And Johnny C is just responding, saying thanks for the info, and he'll remember the username for the next time he sees him.
Scald, Wendy's is on the up and up, my friend.
I'm watching it. I'm watching it go. They have earnings tomorrow.
I mean, on those Carvana 250 puts, I bought those probably about a month ago. I mean, those that's not recent. I just took a long shot on those. So sorry you followed me in on that one, but you should have done it about a month ago. You'd be green.
Well, it's also like he was saying, you have to keep in mind what it's worth based over a longer term as opposed to a shorter term.
Thank you to whoever mentioned puts on Vertex Energy yesterday. I took a quick 50% on that. I think it was okay helicopter.
Yeah, I followed him on that too. It was a good call.
Yeah, thank you.
More than welcome. That's why I do the research I do. I can read financial statements pretty well, and that PR they put out was pretty much a gauge. But I'm surprised they even made positive. I thought it was going to be negative. So, but yeah, it's heavily shorted. So watch it today. Watch it bleed today. I don't know if I'd hold it much longer. I think they're going to keep it at this price like for the rest of the week, so it'll just bleed you on the what do they call it, the theta, I guess. But yeah, I really think that it's not going to go down to 4 like I want it to, but it's one of those ones that if it gets close to 4, I would buy shares because it's so shorted it pops up to like 8 or 12 every time oil hits $100 a gallon, even though they just recycle oil.
And what's the ticker?
Vertex Energy is VTNR, Victor Tango, Nebraska Ralph. Those are good ones. Foyer, Titty, Naked, and what would R be? Gosh. Right. No, I'm not doing the R. Redskin.
Give her the reverse cowgirl. No.
Reverse
cowgirl. Hey. So, helicopter, at what point would you then switch to calls? At that $4 mark or
once I'm trying to watch the Greeks to learn a little bit more about when it hit. It's way past its delta neutral, but it's just so heavily shorted that they're killing it today. Yeah. They're absolutely killing it, but it's still a company that's making a profit. And if they're, to me, 60 cents times, they're probably a good 20 times or so $6. Honestly, it's worth about $9 a share to me, honestly. Right. More, because they are making a profit now that they got all those stupid hedges out there. They had hedges that they bought from the previous company that they added in. They merged the company in. They had hedges against oil that company had. So they had to pay like $112 million this year on that. And that's what hurt their financials a ton. Jesus. So I think, yeah, as long as oil stays between $80 and $100 a barrel, they're making good money. I think when it goes above that, I think their production actually hurts them. But I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where as the oil price goes, they'll go back up and they'll spike a few more times.
So maybe a long call, December or January call.
Yeah, actually, what I'm thinking of doing is once it gets to a low point and kind of balances out, and I see that, I might sell long puts. And by selling long puts, it's not going down anymore. Those puts have a premium, and as it goes up in price, those puts shrink in premium, and I just harvest that premium, which is a good idea. You know what I mean? It's rather than doing calls, because with calls you're 100% at risk. With selling long puts, the money stays there as long as it doesn't go down more. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I've only been doing options a few months, but I want to thank Hardy for that one, because honestly, I never knew about that, and I started looking into it, and I studied it more, and I'm like, wow, now I'm starting to get better with the selling of the options rather than buying them. And that way, when you're not taking a heavier risk here, but when you sell a long call, you're at a heavy risk. So you got to watch that, because you can always, buy it then to get out of it if it starts to spike. So you always got to be careful in mind, the options you have out there. But that's why they have combination plays and stuff where you can actually buy the shares and then sell the long call. That way you have it to, offset.
Yeah. For those who are new to options, stick with buying calls and puts, not selling.
Yeah, and whenever you hear the term iron,
don't follow me.
whenever you hear the term iron condor they talk about in here, that's where they buy and sell at one level with a few bucks apart, and then buy and sell at a different level a few bucks apart because they think it's going to stay between. That one's new. I'm studying that one. That one's super sweet because now I've learned that you can make money when the stock stays in a range and doesn't spike up or down.
Yeah.
So this is pretty cool.
When it sits in that theta level.
What about the iron fly? Does anybody know about that, or?
It's more commonly called the iron butterfly.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same thing as an iron condor, but your center price is at the same. So it's like a straddle rather than a strangle.
These are really things to avoid unless you're very confident in what you're doing, or you want to learn a lot about bankruptcy law.
Or if you're, on a bad streak of just buying calls or puts and
Yeah.
your money.
Just don't become the guy picking up pennies in front of a steamroller because you are selling naked calls.
Yeah, don't do that.
For me, what's worked is developing this procedure that I usually use, which I didn't use today. Yeah, you sell half on 100% and you keep the rest and hope it goes greater. But if I lose 20% on an option purchase, I don't care if it's the best option purchase ever. Once I'm down 20%, I sell it. I don't like losing 100% anymore. And for some people, the risk tolerance is lower, like 10%. I keep it at 20 because, I play SPY 0 DTEs, and from 15% you can go up to 150% real easy.
So I've seen, to pivot a little bit, I've seen two news articles now, one from Idaho and one from Nebraska, of these large building companies like Toll Brothers laying off like 1,000 employees. So thoughts on that, about the house building industry kind of reaching its peak?
We should have a whole team here.
I have a hard time personally believing that housing is done when every single time housing starts pushing down, all I hear is people saying, I can't wait for it to get lower. I'm going to buy a house. And it's like, all right, so you're setting a pretty strong floor there if everyone wants to buy a house at a certain price, right?
Right.
So that's just my feeling on the housing market, but I haven't done a ton of research into it. But I hear so many people saying that.
The problem is when the housing market goes down like that, it's usually in the time of the bad economy and interest rates go up. So it's harder for them to get a loan. So unless you have the money for a house or have a stellar job, it's not really helping you that housing prices went down when you can't get the bank loan.
Right. You got to have cash on hand in that market, as opposed to where we were 12 months ago, where you didn't have to have the cash on hand because you could get a 2.5% interest. But I just found it interesting that all of these Midwestern building companies have started laying off people, and my wonder is really, without doing as much research as I should do, is this because their profits aren't hitting where they thought they were going to hit, that they're not selling these houses because the interest rates are so high and because the market is so inflated, or is it for some other reason that these builders are laying off so many people?
I think it's a perfect storm because in the Midwest, it all slows down in the wintertime anyway. But yeah, on top of that, housing sales and building have slowed down because interest rates are going up. But it's also just a seasonal thing on top of it, so it looks way worse.
Got it.
I wanted
about Wendy's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Teddy.
Well, I was getting ready to shout out for our good friend Scald Crypto because those Wendy's calls are up 33%.
Fuck yeah, they are.
Yeah, that wasn't me. Someone else called it out, and I was like, I guess I'll do Wendy's. And then, like,
that was me.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you. Awesome. Thank you to both of you. Those are doing well.
Yeah, I just closed mine out up 40% on the day, which, I mean, come on. Who's not going to take a 40% gain?
On Wendy's.
Me. I'm not. Diamond hands. We'll ride that all the way to zero, buddy.
That's something mind block.
Never went
I'm not
bankrupt
trying to
realizing
ride to
gains.
zero, but it's fucking happening that way. Damn.
You literally got your tendies from Wendy's.
Yeah, that's a great strategy there. Can you post that in the chat?
What was that said? I was having a hard time hearing you.
That's a great strategy. Can you post that in the chat for everybody?
The trick is to buy out of the money, watch them double, sometimes triple, and then hold them till they go to zero. That's my strategy.
Yeah, that one usually works for me too.
One of my favorites.
Thanks for sharing.
My favorite's when I buy them out of the money calls and they go down immediately and I still hold.
I prefer when you buy them and they go down a little, and then all of a sudden you get like 60% gains. But of course, you got to hold out for 80 or 100 to sell some of it, and then it goes to zero.
The other day, I had such a high skilled trade. I bought in the money calls that later expired worthless. So that's not easy to do.
You do that on BBBY?
No, usually I sell those. This was on a TTD.
Hold up. You bought calls on TTD? Like everyone was saying it's going to go down. Are you trying to inverse WSB?
This was last week. I was planning on exiting on some news, and so I bought in the money to have good exposure to that price movement, and price didn't movement up. So, well.
Well, your counts everything.
Any other major aftermarket reportings going on today? Can we do we have that picture of the reportings this week? I had it, but I lost it.
So just for future reference, Human Genome doesn't really do the day trading. Most of my plays are longer term plays because I have a construction company, so I can't really sit in front of a computer all day.
Be a third person.
Anyone thinks the following, keep that in mind.
Are you hiring? Kidding.
Actually, right now we're heading into the slow season, so we're laying off.
Are you in the Midwest?
Georgia.
Merry Christmas.
Oh my God, it's transcontinental. It's happening all over the country.
Georgia started it.
Hey, Jay Powell said unemployment needs to go up for inflation to drop. So bullish?
I don't know, man. We just started a 500 banger neighborhood here and a 200 banger in Kent County, Delaware. And all these New Yorkers and New Jersey people are coming down here with cash money, buying them up. We can't build them fast enough.
You bet your ass we are.
I would like to mention that Nintendo is on sale for a limited time, $9.99.
Nice.
The Dole February 20 or Dole February 16 $2.50 calls are like selling at literal intrinsic value right now. You're maybe paying 10 to 15 cents premium per share, if even that.
So that was a 250 call, is that right?
Correct. I already have some, so I'm not looking to add to the position. I might just go long shares. The one thing to think about of buying in the money calls is you have negative exposure to any of the dividends being paid out. So the cost of the underlying can drop due to the dividend paying out, but you do not get the money of the dividend because you do not own the shares. You own a derivative.
Understood.
Okay, it's above market cap now. I'm going to talk about Funko, FNKO. They make Funko Pops. You probably have some of them. I don't know. I think these guys are like the next generation Beanie Baby. And people say, oh, that's really negative. Well, like Beanie Babies is making like $1.8 billion a year at its peak. So adjusted for inflation, that's like $2.4 billion. So anyway, Funko Pop, they lost half their value when they absolutely cratered earnings. They went down from like $20 a share to like $9. They're staging a nice recovery over the last 2 days. a recovery so pronounced it brought them back above the market cap.
I'm sorry, breaking news. Powerball numbers have been hit. And now quit the job.
I don't like Funko because I don't think it should be publicly traded.
Why?
I don't know. It's something about a niche product thinking they need to be publicly traded on the market that bothers me. I don't like Roblox on there either. It's like you're a single game. Fuck off.
Right, kind of like
Roblox
Pokemon is
I don't
under.
think you understand what Roblox is, bro.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like a
I'm glad I
billion
didn't
dollar
invest in it. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, I kind of agree with the thesis. It makes sense.
Anyway, as soon as Funko lowers, I'm gonna buy some shares.
Roblox is like crack for kids, and I have a kid.
It's like crack to you if it's like crack to your kids because it's coming out of your wallet.
Yes, sir. Thankfully, I can afford it.
Well, crack money needs to come from somewhere, doesn't it?
This reminds me, folks, never smoke anything named after part of your own ass.
Oh, Mr. Zombie Bear in the YouTube comments is talking about Roblox viewership being way down, I assume on Twitch. And apparently also the number of players on Steam currently playing Roblox is way down. I'm not sure if anyone's looked at that.
Yeah, I was planning on buying Plus for Roblox.
Did you say on Steam?
Yeah, it is on Steam, right?
I don't think so.
It's downloadable on Xbox. I don't know if it's downloadable on. I think it's also downloadable on PlayStation. It's like a market game that you download. It might be on Steam as well, but it is cross-platform. Sorry, I can't speak today. Cross-platform compatible. It's really big among people that are interested in coding in Scratch and building their own games. It's very easy to work with.
Roblox isn't on Steam, but you can have games like launch through Steam that aren't on Steam. I forget exactly how it works, but you can like do that type of stuff, but it's not actually for sale on Steam.
I guess my view is like, Gary's mod was on Steam and you could make your own stuff. There's other games where you can make sub games within it. And yeah, it's cool. It's neat, but I would have shit on those if they went public as a stock and that was like the only thing you're investing in. I mean, I would have shit on them just as hard, even though I like them.
I used to shit on Roblox. I've seen my kid play it over the years, and now he's like 13. He still plays it. The games have just only gotten better. The graphics keep getting better. Now it's basically like clones of like Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, freaking name a game, and there's a Roblox clone of it. And all these kids, they just get on there and play and play and play. Once they're bored, they just go to the next game. There's like 10,000 games on the store. So
Everybody says the graphics are great, but aren't they just a bunch of magnified pixels?
Nah, bro, the engine is getting crazier and crazier. Now with these new 490s, they got like RTX in the game and stuff. So
Yeah, it depends on what game the person has built. So if they built like the original Roblox game, yeah, the graphics are shit. It's all cubes. But there are some that take like a little bit more time, and then those graphics are on par, like you said, with Unreal Engine.
So shouldn't Roblox be able to spin all this cool positive stuff into like some positive earnings every once in a while too?
I mean, they should.
Then they would have to stop paying themselves, I guess. I think at the end of the day, that's who really wins.
I can note something on that. My nephews both play that game. It's now being accepted into schools, so it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's literally a combination of Minecraft, Gary's Mod, and then any other game that you can create on their platform.
That's
Any
just what
kid
I want my
at
kid
14
doing in
plays it.
school, is playing Roblox when he's supposed to be learning fucking math.
Well, no, that's the thing. They're starting to like bring it into schools and put it into programs. Like their computer class, they literally have like 25 minutes they can play any game on there, and then they have another 20 minutes where they have an educational game from Roblox that they play.
I'm pretty
So
sure that
Roblox is
Roblox.
going to get bought by Meta, and Meta and Roblox are going to combine into some virtual reality college learning platform.
Pretty sure you can already play Roblox on the VR. My kid's done it.
How are they letting kids play a game where you're killing the players? That doesn't.
They have some of that blocked. Like the shit with any guns, all those servers are blocked, but they have special servers from the school that are like almost rented out to them to use.
I wonder if they're using studios to, like, because Roblox Studios they just released and it keeps getting better and better and like more easy and streamlined for like people that aren't programming savvy to basically, you know, create a game from scratch. I don't know if any of y'all ever played StarCraft back in the good day, but like the map editor they had then, it's basically what they're doing now, making it accessible to basically anyone. To
I
make
used
a
to
game.
write Bomberman on my TI-83 back in the day. So yeah, I got you.
So I've seen where developers on Minecraft on Roblox will make like name brand clothing and then actually sell it on there, and made so much money that name brand companies now are paying these developers to make their clothes on there. So it's like advertisement. I'm just wondering when Roblox is gonna dig into that and be like, hey, if you're other companies selling these clothes on here, which kids are paying up for, this dude's making millions of dollars a year, then it's a matter of time before Roblox says, hey, we want some of that money. That's basically advertisement money.
I just can't see how advertising is going to put so much money into that. Like, how is that going to really translate to them making sales?
Well,
I mean,
I heard that.
already gets a cut of all sales, right? I mean, they're
Yeah, they
platform.
I
it's
even
based
heard
off the
one,
Roblox that you bring in. Like the currency, in-game currency, however much you make, you get a percentage of that from the company, but they keep everything else.
Right, this kid developer, he's made like millions in 1 year, millions.
I even heard a
Millions
girl
of
made,
Roblox, right?
No, of actual dollars.
yeah. I
So
heard
there's a whole documentary
someone
about
making
So
$500,000.
you can remove in-game currency.
No,
Like-
what they make their money
Yes.
from is basically like they go on a server and then they spend money to buy Roblox from Roblox, but that server, whoever the creator is, they get a percentage of that for bringing in the money itself.
So Roblox calls?
So Roblox is just part of the gig economy. Let's value this thing like Uber.
It's
Yeah, I
basically
kinda
what
agree with
Minecraft was for the last generation.
You know, your
but
comment
Roblox
about it
is
being
cool.
like Uber is kind of how I think of it. There's lots of platforms that are really neat and cool where their valuation, people are trying to value it based on like the number of users and popularity instead of profits. And that's how I view Roblox in a way.
I agree with that.
My only caveat to that is the kid factor and the fact that all these kids, the player base is so strong and so loyal. I mean, my kid's been playing this since he was little, and I thought he would stop playing Roblox, bro. And he's still on there and playing it. He's got AAA games, all that crap, and he'll still default to Roblox over, all these other, beautiful games he has. So I don't know.
No, exactly. That's a very valid point. It's just the way that I view it is all that going for them, these loyal customers, growing base, and they still can't make money off it.
All right, moving on.
Mr. Zombie Bear was actually talking about Twitch, not Steam. There's a Twitch metrics site that can show you that. So apologies for the confusion there.
I'm gonna butt in one more second for Roblox. I'm looking at the financial reports from last year and this year. They would have made money in Q2, and they did show growth in a couple key areas. The problem is the stock-based compensation was out the fucking roof for the quarter. And I don't know if they're going to do that again this quarter or not. That would be the only thing stopping me from thinking they have turnaround. But I'm gonna review it more because the play isn't till I think tomorrow afternoon, if I remember right. Do they go off after hours tomorrow, Roblox?
Yeah, most likely after hours.
It's pre-market.
Oh,
I'm going to do some more research before the call's over and try to figure out why they issued that much stock-based compensation in the quarter and if it will continue. Because if not, and if they still see they have year-over-year growth of more than 10% in revenue, and they have year-over-year growth of more than 10% in booking.
Believe it's because the creators have a piece of the share. Like there's like a creator program that they have, and anyone that's a part, like the YouTubers specifically, they all have a certain percent of that stock to help help them promote it, or however you want to say, give them some money for doing it.
Well, that's why I want to see if it continued this quarter. I'm going puts. If it didn't continue this quarter, where they have to do that expense, I'm going calls.
They're at 40 a share, high of 141, low of 21.
I know we were talking about DraftKings yesterday. DraftKings is up 6% today.
Nice. When will eBets do that?
Wonder who won that game last night.
I'll be back in 10, 20, 30.
Are there any publicly traded offshore sports gambling sites?
Not in the U.S., as far as I know.
Yeah, the only one I could think of would be like William Tell, but I don't think that's available for us.
Is Bovada offshore?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of, if you're offshore, can you really be publicly traded in the U.S.? I don't know.
Well, your broker would just need access to a different stock exchange, right?
Yeah, it would just be ADR, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing is with offshore gambling online, like in Missouri, like it's not technically illegal, it's a gray area. So DraftKings just won't do it because it's a gray area.
I mean, it's a super low barrier to entry to get an offshore book going. I mean, that's not really here or there. I don't think that those companies would grow in size to become publicly traded.
Hello, eBets. Bought that piece of shit at $5-something, paid for 85 cents. Motherfucker.
So I'm looking at two stocks past week. One of them being Sigma Lithium Corporation. It's a mining corporation. I think it can't remember what the ticker is called. And the other one is United Natural Foods Incorporation. Unify, UN, like Uniform November Foxtrot India. And the food one seems to be trending quite upwards since like they were going with a hard dip prior to COVID, but during the pandemic they've been trending constantly upwards. And I'm just curious, I haven't found out why the downward trend occurred from 2019 to 2020, but looking at it, like last week I bought in and then I paper handed half of my position, but at the same time, like it jumped up. It's been jumping up this week, so I'm like, well, lose some, you win some. Reason why with the lithium one I'm showing interest towards it is because they're operating in Canada, and apparently Canada is like supposed to have like a shit ton of lithium for North America. So with this CHIPS bill, it might be sort of tied to Canada supplying lithium to the United States as opposed to China.
I'd also look at Lithium Americanas and Piedmont. I believe it's the other one.
What was the ticker on that? And also, I like your play, but lithium isn't used in semiconductors. That's for the batteries.
However, lithium is used in my medication that I take every day.
Every now and then, I gotta shock myself with a 9-volt to feel alive too.
No, but I missed the ticker. Can someone tell me the company in Canada that's lithium?
That is the mining company, I believe.
It was called what? Sigma Mining? What's the ticker?
Sigma Lithium Corporation. I think that's the mining corp.
SGML.
Yeah, either they are pulling it out of the ground or they're refining it. One of the two.
Yeah, well, shit. That graph makes me feel like I'm way late.
That's why I like Lithium Americanas or Americas. It's a little bit earlier, and they're producing. They're currently in the. My head, I just woke up, but they're currently in the process of opening up 2 mining projects, one in Argentina and one in Nevada, I believe.
Yeah, this Sigma one, they're operating in Brazil as well. So like they're both in like North America and in South America.
Anyone pick up those Oxy calls today?
I've seen a ton of people talking about Oxy calls in the comments, so I think there's definitely some of you guys, degens out there.
Honestly, I didn't because it moves too slowly for me. But not a bad idea. They did dip this morning. If you buy an Oxy call, Jesus, hold it to January. And you will make money. It's just a very long slope.
Looks like a lot of commodity mining companies are having a very nice day. See a lot of copper companies doing well. A lot of uranium ones. Looks like they're all having nice days today. So I'm guessing
aluminum too.
Yeah, it looks like
I
good commodity day.
ordered 2 pizzas to this house at the same time.
Grow Generations up 38% for 39% for the day.
What is Grow Generation? I've never heard of this stuff.
It's a cannabis stock. It's one of the biggest ones.
I think it's come up on the talk a couple times in the past. I don't know if is it flirting with the market cap or something. I remember. Oh yeah, that's why you don't hear about it. It's like 280 million market cap, but it is up 40%, and that's the last I'll talk about that. Oh no, what's his Theta Vega in the YouTube comments is gonna eviscerate me because this is my quote unquote third strike talking about microcaps in this call today.
Just needs to be a little bit bigger.
Shame.
Bed Bath
Yeah,
market cap.
It's below the market cap at BBBY.
Don't know yet.
Ooh, what a shame. You know, those BBBY traders were always so pleasant and open to criticism, you know? So it's so sad to see them go.
Thoughts on Disney later today?
I bought some stock. I think it's going to go up.
Pretty bullish.
All right. Well, you had me at the mouse.
Oh boy.
That'll be $10.
Yeah, that sounds like Disney to me.
Oh, who did that voice? That was I thought that was Shepherdess for a second, but I don't see her up here.
That's me.
That's a cease and desist.
Also, I'm the one. It's called, just so you remember, I'm the Wendy's one too. Keep taking my calls, you motherfucker.
Love this background music. It's quite soothing for covering up the tears of my losses.
Oh boy, who's ready to lose some money?
That's a really good like Mickey Mouse voice. Can you do others or?
Not right now. I literally just smoked, but no, Mickey Mouse is definitely my best. I went to Disney World and I was that Star Wars land ride whenever they're like old dressed up as First Orders doing that voice, and bro, I made like 3 of them break their fucking characters and get in trouble.
Holy shit.
They got pulled aside and were like, you know that you can't laugh during this shit.
I don't know how they get away with it on South Park, but that's hilarious when they got Mickey on there.
I'm just imagining someone like coming home after a long day at work. It's like, yeah, I got let go today. Someone is doing a Mickey Mouse voice.
Opinion, how much money do you have to lose for your tears to make sound? I'm curious.
Oh, they're always crying. Oh, they're always making sound. I don't know. There's many different types of sound a tear can make as the stream of tears hits the table. I don't know.
Probably somewhere around 35 to 40%.
Yikes.
Stop losses? What's a stop loss?
We don't stop any losses around here.
No, we go all in.
I don't even read mine yesterday.
But if I set a stop loss, BlackRock will come hunting for my 10 shares.
Oh, yeah. I hear BlackRock actually sends out hitmen to anyone who DRSs their shares, so yeah, be careful. Actually, yeah, what's going on with GME? And I haven't really heard people talk about them in quite a while. They're supposedly in a very insignificant way impacted by FTX, aren't they?
Recently, the stock keeps bouncing off 25, so that's something I'm looking at.
The march continues to lock that float.
I hear Moas is tomorrow. That's what I hear.
How
much do you guys
it
have,
already got canceled? Dang.
How much do you have DRS though? Is the main question.
I got like 5x shares DRS. So yesterday I saw on Twitter that there's a deal going on between the UK and the US for liquid natural gas. I'm telling you, FLNG is a play.
Doesn't Europe have like a bunch of ships just sitting on the outside? And their like reserves are pretty filled up, just waiting around like, we'd like to sell this. Anybody? And Europe's like, sorry, we're full.
You said it's a put or a call on FLNG.
I have calls right now.
Okay.
I've got some pretty deep calls for winter play out to February. I got a 34.5 that I bought like 2 months ago. And I got a 39, I got like 5 39.5s that are, they just turned green today. And yeah, that surplus of liquid natural gas I got to look into. I don't know if that's all it's really cracked up to be, but I do know that Europe's going to need a lot of it.
Bought some BlackRock shares once, and it reminded me of when my grandpa bought me a $20 savings bond when I was a kid, and like 15 years later, it was worth $20.
That's how it works. Wait, there was no interest on it? I'm confused. Didn't it cost him like $1 to buy the $20 savings bond? How it actually works.
Yeah, and if you cash it out like a year early, you're down $5.
You guys, elevator music's putting me to sleep. You guys want to wrap it up here?
Sounds good to me. I gotta be running.
That's awesome. Well, Scald, good luck, and everyone else, I guess we'll see you all tomorrow. Unless, is there any interesting earnings after market close today? We could do a earnings call.
Just Wendy's and Disney, to my knowledge, or Wendy's might be tomorrow.
I thought
We gotta
Wendy's
pick
was
one.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Wendy's is tomorrow.
Disney it is then.
Quick question. Does anybody know off the top of their head if CPI is midday or before pre-market tomorrow?
8:30 a.m.
on Thursday.
on Thursday.
On Thursday.
Yeah. I always remember it's 8:30 a.m. because I start the calls then, and so I'll do it based on like the color of the background, based on what this, how SPY is doing right before, and then CPI comes out and it always fucks me up. So maybe we'll start tomorrow's call at 8:31.
Sounds good.
So yeah, there's also Lucid and Rivian, I think, after hours today. Wait a second, is that correct? Or is someone in the YouTube comments trolling me?
Any reason why it's 8:30 and not earlier?
It's a good question. I guess gives markets time to digest it before market open.
Yeah, it's 8:30. That's not enough time. I'm kind of slow. I need at least 2 hours, 3 hours. That means we take. When the market opens at 4:30, you tell me. I still don't really kind of understand how pre-market works and how this company can be in pre-market, but that one's not in pre-market. And but I'm not gonna spend another year trying to figure that one out.
Also, AMC opinion.
Oh, AMC's after hours?
Yeah, after hours today.
Tell you what, I'll put up a poll and we'll let the people decide. Democracy.
Oh, geez.
All right. Well, in that case, until 4:30-ish, we'll. You just scream weed.
No, I said sweet, but I got the swa part didn't make it.
All right then. We'll see you at 4:30. Thanks everyone for coming out, and yeah, cheers.
See ya.
Good luck.
Take care, everyone. Ta-ta.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks guys for tuning in, and see you all either at 4:30 if you're joining us, or tomorrow.